Yes, indeed. Got to tell you, man, you folks now have a very new guy who's going to support your Philadelphia Eagles. And he comes on this program each and every single day starting next week. He'll be on later today at 3:30. And it is going to be Xander Krauss. He's going to join us. And we will talk with him. That'll be at 3:30. So for you, my friends, have no fear. We are now officially 65 days out from the start of training camp. Content is everywhere. You know what's great? I try to watch the NBA, and I can't. There's nothing endearing about it. I'd rather watch Caitlin Clark. I'd rather watch WNBA basketball right now than the NBA. I mean, there's nothing embracing about this conference final. It has to be one of the worst rated in the history. Oh, by the way, I'd like to say this. And Xander, take a look at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hey, you're welcome. Guys at the Inquirer, we appreciate you coming aboard and getting content because Big Sills is the king of content. Thank you very thumbs up, thumbs down. We did that 2 days ago. Holy Maron to me. You got to be kidding me. No, but that's okay because that's a flattering thing that you come here for content. I know some of you can't come up with your own content. You come to Big Sills for content because I'm the king of it and I've been doing it for over 38 years, so I get it. I look at the front page of the Inquirer, thumbs up, thumbs down. Take a look at that thing, Xander. I was like, this is what we were doing the other day with you guys. We were asking you flat out, thumbs up, thumbs down for this coach. What do you think? Now they're running a thumbs up, thumbs down. Holy cow. I guess that's cool. By the way, OTAs, baby. Everyone looks sensational over there at the NovaCare Center. Wow. You would think that the Philadelphia Eagles just won their second Super Bowl in 100 years. Unbelievable. Wow. Quinyon Mitchell? This guy looks like Deion Sanders. Man. Cooper DeJean? This guy looks like Brian Dawkins. Helmets and shorts. Oh, man. Helmets and shorts. I love it. By the way, how about all the Eagle players now? Man, Vic Fangio, this guy is unbelievable. Holy shit. Hey, they're taking a crap on the Dolphin players, and they should. Hey, Dolphin players, there's one thing that you need to worry about right now. You might want to change your image on, guess what? Being soft. There's one thing I've never called the Philadelphia Eagles is soft. The Dolphins are soft. Every time they get into a big-time game, they get their heads crushed. I mean, they get crushed. These guys are jailhouse bitches. I mean, every time they get into a giant game where you have to win a big one, they get killed. They get killed. And here they are. And now you got Eagle guys. Oh, my God, these guys. I've never seen a D coordinator. I think that's great, though, actually. I think that's great. Now, I think it says a lot about the culture of Mike McDaniels versus the Eagle culture of the players that they have in the locker room and the established attitude that they have in Philly. I think that's a good thing. You got guys in that side of the aisle, the Eagles side, that wants to be coached hard. The Dolphin guys don't want to be coached hard. Is that a reflection of the coach? Maybe. What did Mike McDaniel say? It was a mutual parting of ways, right? Maybe Mike didn't like the way he coached. Maybe Mike doesn't like to coach hard. Maybe Mike doesn't really like to tell the players what they really need to hear. Maybe he doesn't coach people hard, or maybe he doesn't take a caring on that side of the ball. I think he coaches that Miami Dolphin team like Sean McVay coaches the Los Angeles Rams. The only difference is quality D coordinators always go in to the Rams' place. Always. They always make the right hires on defense. That's a really well-run organization, the Rams. Les Snead and Kevin Demoff do a great job. Isn't that funny? You know, the worst thing that you can ever call a franchise is soft. There's nothing soft about the Eagles. You know, they do some stupid shit when it comes to their front office meddling, but it's not soft. And it comes from a place of at least thinking you know what it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're at least coming from a place where they believe because they have won a championship. So you're going to give them some benefit of the doubt. What's Miami done in the last 40 years? Even with Shula, what have they done in 40 years? Nothing. And they look like a finesse, soft team still. So when you hear these players making comments about how cool it is to have Vic in the building, great. I'll tell you what, I take more validity in that than I do in those guys who are talking shit. By the way, who's that guy? What's his name? Holland? He's getting killed in the South Florida media right now for going over the line saying that Vic Fangio is a horrible person. He's getting killed right now. What does his attitude of being a horrible person have anything to do with being a defensive coordinator? How does he know he's a horrible person? Why? Because you didn't like the way he coached you? That makes him a horrible person? Vic Fangio doesn't come off as a horrible guy to me, and nor do I give a shit if he's a super guy, a bad. I don't care about that. What does that have to do with coaching? And where would you go over the line so much as to say he's a horrible man? You think he's a bad dad? Bad grandfather? That encompasses a lot of things. Sounds to me a little bit personal, son. How do you know he's a horrible person? I mean, how do you know that? That was his innuendo that the guy's a horrible dude. He's getting killed, man. Hey, Evan makes a great point. Some of the best coaches are absolute. And hey, Evan, may I add a word? He's got jerks. I'll use dicks. Absolutely. Some of the greatest coaches on the planet are assholes. I mean, have you ever really seen a super calm coach who's a great coach just not be an asshole? Those guys are all assholes. Mike Tomlin could get in your ass like an asshole. Shit, Bill Walsh used to scream at his assistant coaches. Get this. Bill Walsh used to scream at his assistant coaches. Scream at him. Yeah, Dungy may be the exception, JM. He may be the exception. By the way, guys, we're trying to get to 200 likes again. Thank you very much yesterday. You were sensational. Please hit the like button for us. I really appreciate that. I'll give you Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy doesn't come from that place like that. He doesn't. Tony exudes confidence. JM, I'll tell you a real quick story. John Lynch told me this. They were 0-7. If you look at Dungy's coaching career in Tampa, they were 0-7 or like 0-8. And everybody in the building was getting nervous. This guy know what he's doing? This guy know what he's doing? Dungy walked in the building and goes, you know how close we are? You know how close we are to being great? You may not see it. I do. Do you know how close we are to turning this around? Dungy turned the entire culture around. Gruden walks in, wins the Super Bowl. You had to have blind faith in Tony Dungy. Dungy coached because, you know why Dungy got the most? That's his best coaching job. Not coaching Peyton Manning. Was turning the Bucks around and a losing organization around. Guys who got their heads down. Tony Dungy walks in and goes, you don't realize how close you are. I see it. Dungy was on 4 Super Bowl teams with the Steelers. He knew what that looked like. He knew what it looked like. These guys were, Brad Culpepper and all those guys were telling me everyone's head was down. They're 0-7 or 0-8. They're like this. Dungy walks in. Here's a problem solver. Unlike that clown of a coach you have. He walks in and everyone's head's down. You imagine this? What Dungy would have did with that team last year? Wow. He'd have won a Super Bowl. They would have won the Super Bowl because Dungy's a problem solver. You're 0-8. He walks in, looks you in the face and goes, you have no idea how close you are to greatness. You guys are going to be great. And they were. He formulated one of the greatest defenses in NFL history in Tampa. They draft Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp in the same draft. Pretty crazy. A lot of the front office people that were in that front office went on to do great things other places. John Schneider may have been in that building. I know Jerry Angelo was in that building, who went up to Chicago and put the Bears in the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman that year with Lovie Smith. There were a lot of people in that front office that went on to super things. That's great coaching. That's believing in your system and in your process. So I like what I'm hearing in the OTAs right now. By the way, you got to take some of the shit with a grain of salt when the guys are. But listen, what else do you want them to do? Talk shit on the players? You don't want them to talk shit on them. Hey, man, motivate them. Put them in a good place. Here, I'll say this to you. James Bradberry, I think this has got a lot to do with how good these young players look in OTAs and how much confidence Vic's going to have in him on whether he's going to be at the next OTA or at the mandatory OTA. I think James Bradberry's career hinges in the balance of what Vic thinks of these guys and how much they can retain. I don't think there's any question mark about the ability. How much will you be able to process is what he's after right now. So, again, I think these OTAs are very important, especially for the new coaches. We got a couple topics here. We also have who I'd like to see starting for the Philadelphia Eagles and who I would like to see starting in 2024. My starters, who I want to start. All right. Before we do that, I do want to do this. You think this Philadelphia Eagle team has a good core group of young players? Yes or no? Do they? How about this? I put a list together of 25 and under that are on the Eagles. I didn't put everyone because there's some stiffs on that roster that won't be there. Sinbad says absolutely. Gabe says in certain positions. CJ, young players, yes. I've got the list of players 25 years and younger. Fly says the word that we all hate the most, potentially. It's good and bad. JM says 50-50. Let's take a look at that. Wrote down a bunch of guys here. How many guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, look, some of these guys are going to be incomplete. And some of these guys you can't make a fair assessment on. So you're going to be Switzerland on them or you're going to put incomplete on them because you're not really going to be able to put, and I'm not looking really for a letter grade. I'm just looking for an overall view of what you think of this player's ability potentially in 3 years on what this guy's going to look like on this roster. All right? All right. I didn't realize Mekhi Becton was 25 years old. I didn't think he was 25. That's freaking incredible. How did they sign this guy? How did they get – it's got to be because he was often injured in New York. This guy's a good football player, man. I could make a point to you that I think if this guy plays 17 ball games next year, He potentially could be one of the most important offseason signs Howie has ever had. That's how good people, dude, you got people like Phil Simms. You got people like Brian Baldinger. You got people like those kind of people that are talking about this guy being a major player. He's like Larry Allen strong. That's insane. Hey, you talk about potential. Here's a guy right here in potential. When it comes to Mekhi Becton, I'm awful high on. I am awful high on this guy. Ski Mask Howie, tell you what, Wrench, Becton could be one of his greatest signs if this guy stays healthy. And now he's with Jeff Stoutland, which is insane great. Dude, this is somebody I am keeping an eye on this year, and I'm looking forward to him. I am so looking forward to him. These are guys that I've written down 25 years and younger on your football team. I want to get an overall sense and a view of how he has done with young guys. Because you're making a transition from the Brandon Grahams, the Fletcher Coxes, the Jason Kelce's. Soon it's going to be Lane Johnson you're moving on from. Are there guys coming in that these guys can count on? Reed Blankenship, 25 years old, safety. Reed is an NFL player. Okay? Do I want him starting? I don't know. You know, it's funny with Reed Blankenship. When I look at him, I say this. Hey, some days I like him and some days I just absolutely do not. But there's more good days. And I don't think he's a bad roster guy. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a roster with dudes on it like him. Not everybody's going to be a $9 million guy. I mean, the money's right. His ability kind of fits where they are. I'm okay with him. I don't have a problem with him being on that roster at all. As a matter of fact, you know, how about this? I would go, all right, yeah, sure, he belongs on the Eagles. He's a solid player. Sidney Brown, way too early. Here's my assessment of what I've seen of Sidney Brown. Great energy. He's not a very good tackler yet. That was his problem why he went in the third round and why he wasn't a first rounder. Now he's a hitter. But he's got to control that. You know, great hitters hit with balance and have great form. He doesn't. The game, he plays the game at such a high speed. Slow it down, son. That will come with confidence and more reps. He's got to get healthy. He's got to get healthy. A Niner all day, I do not believe he's a bust. I think he just needs to be coached better. I mean, I wish Denard Wilson had coached him. And you had yourself a decent defensive back coach that could have helped him a little bit more in angle tackling and his pursuit angles. That was one of the major problems that the Eagles are not well coached when it comes to pursuit angles and it comes to scrape angles. Dude, Ray Lewis was goofing on you guys on a Manning cast that the Eagles have to be one of the worst tackling teams and pursuit angle teams that there is in the league. Vic Fangio will work on that. Yeah, Steve goes, aggression is good. Sometimes, though, Steve, when your aggression is that high, that could be also a detriment to your angles and also how you're going to play and how you're going to hit people. I like the player. I want to. How about this? If I'm a defensive backs coach or I'm a coordinator, I want to coach him. You know why I want to coach him? Because I want to see if I can harness that ability to knock people out. Can I make him into a Cam Chancellor? Maybe. Remember, Cam Chancellor was a fourth rounder or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? I like the player. Jalen Carter, 23 years old, defensive tackle. Probably the best of the group on the defensive side of the football. Last year, he played like a star first rounder. He lived up to his number 9 billing. I know some of you are going to go, he fell apart at the end. Well, the whole system fell apart because he was not coached well. They asked him and Davis to do two things that they don't do well. That's two gap. They're not two gappers. Jalen Carter, do you notice that you didn't see him anymore after Patricia took over? Why? Because they were asking him to do a completely different assignment. How shitty that must have been for him. A guy who gets up the field, likes to get penetration in the backfield, likes to knock blockers off line scrapes, likes to create havoc in the backfield, was asked not to do any of that anymore. That had to have been frustrating. Had to have been frustrating. Dude, I'll tell you what, when you go from being that kind of player to asking to being a fire hydrant so that your linebackers can make plays, that is an absolute slap in the face at you. And dude, he was a slam dunk to be the rookie of the year. Slam dunk. He was miles ahead. Do you understand how bad he played his last 7 games? He played so bad, he lost the rookie of the year award. In 7 games, he lost the rookie of the year. He was so far ahead, everybody. I mean, he lost that award because of coaching. If I'm Howie, I was pissed off at that. But Howie, you hired Matt Patricia. I mean, you brought that guy in. Get this, Howie Roseman has never taken accountability for hiring Matt Patricia and destroying that defense. He's never taken accountability for that. They've never taken accountability for the firing of the coordinator in season when you're 10-2. Nobody has ever stood up. And Nick standing up, we all know that's not the case. No, I believe this. They went to Nick and told him that you have to move Desai out. So in theory, you're right. Desai, hey, to Xander's point and John McMullen's point, in theory, Nick did fire him because they told him to. Hey, you got to go in there. This is your job. And you've got to go in there. You ever see Moneyball? Remember when Brad Pitt was talking to that new executive that he had brought over from the Cleveland Indians? And he said, you got to learn how to fire people. This is part of the job. Walk in there and tell them, hey, remember when he was going, hey, what are you talking about? I just bought a house, my kid's in school. Hey, maybe you don't want to take the kid. And Billy Bean, who Brad Pitt played, goes, what are you talking about? Here's the travel agent. Ed Wade's a really good guy. Here's the information. Give him a call. You're a really good ball player, Jeremy, but guess what? That's what you got to do, man. It's part of the job, firing people. Got to be honest with them. But Nick knows that system. So I completely agree with John McMullen. He did fire him. He didn't hire him, though. Even Angelo, who in their right mind would go like this? Hey, Matt Patricia, why don't you be the watchdog over Sean Desai to see if he fucks the shit up? We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So you hire Desai and then you hire a watchdog over him? You were setting him up for failure from the very beginning. Do you think that really went down? Of course it didn't. And they didn't coach Jalen Carter and Davis right. Jordan Davis, 24. I think they've coached him wrong. He's never lived up to his skill set. He shows flashes of being brilliant. He shows flashes of being lazy. I think the problem that you have... Now, look, I'm going to tell you this about this player, Jordan Davis, and here's my honest assessment with him. He's got a little bit of laziness to him like Jerome Brown did. And I've told you this before. The problem is that Jerome's lazy moments used to infuriate Buddy Ryan. Infuriate him. Because he would have a lazy moment. Used to infuriate Jimmy Johnson. Used to infuriate me. He had moments where he would just, you're looking at him going, what are you doing? Because you know how great the player is. You look at the guy and you go, what are you doing? And he'd look at you and you're like, and it was all of a sudden he'd make 5 sensational game-wrecking plays. And you're like, he just won't do it every down. I'll tell you what I'll take from Jordan Davis. Jordan, you can be lazy. 4 plays a game. But the rest of those 50 plays, I need you to be a star. I'm going to bend because that's just the personality. There's a lot of players in the league like this. Not everybody runs at 100% every single play. Not everybody's James Harrison. Nobody runs at a motor like John Randall. Not everyone has, hey, is John Randall better than Warren Sapp? No. But you know what John Randall did? He played at 100% every play. Sapp didn't also. Sapp had lazy moments. You know what I'm saying? So put Jordan Davis in a position to succeed. Nose guard, you're not asking him to do much except one thing. Keep the linebackers free. If you get 4 sacks out of him this year, that's a Pro Bowl year for him. If the Eagles finish, how about this? If the Philadelphia Eagles finish in the top 12 against the run, you're going to the NFC title game. You'll go to the NFC title game. Stopping the run this year is more imperative than your pass coverage because last year it affected it mightily. Routes developed more. Once the run defense fell apart, it was like 3rd or 2nd or 1st in the first month of the season. Those numbers dwindled. Why? They dwindled because teams were throwing the ball early on you. Then when they found out they couldn't get pressure on you, then the run game started to fall apart. When the run game fell apart after week 13, it was over. The last thing that kept that defense afloat was your run defense. And when that fell apart, the entire unit fell apart. That's why Desai was changed out. That's why he was changed out. Nakobe Dean, 23 years old, linebacker. I have to think that in the OTAs, Vic's not very happy with what he's looking at. I cannot think that he would look at him and go, that guy's the guy who's going to play inside linebacker for me. There's no way with the style of that kind of coaching and that kind of play and what he's looking to do in that defense, he's got to look at that player and know he doesn't fit in. He's got to know that. Nakobe Dean playing in the Steeler organization might be a good fit. Nakobe Dean in a team that is struggling to find an identity on defense, he is absolutely an outlier player. This was a reach as a draft pick with a 3rd-round pick. And I look at him, he's a non-factor in 2 years. He won't be on this team in 2 years. I mean, Dean didn't even show up at OTAs. I don't think they miss him. So let me get this right. Is that true? JM, really? Nakobe Dean is not at OTAs? How can a guy who missed the entire season a year ago, just about, who was constantly injured, has a new coordinator, and you're not at every single OTA, even if you're standing in street clothes watching what they're doing and watching the drills, he's still injured? It's over, man. I'm finished with this player. Nakobe Dean is injured. He's still hurt from what? I forgot what his injury was. He's injured again. He's just injured. My God, this is enough. It's enough. He's recovering from what? He was on IR all year last year. What the hell? From what? Knee? Back? Heart? What's the injury? Jesus criminy. What a bust of a pick. You could take that guy. Man. Foot injury. All right, let's move on. You know what? It's getting to a point now. We're just going to move on. There's no sense of killing the kid. He's killing himself. Cooper DeJean. They really like the player. You know what? I think they like the player from what all reports are. I'll tell you what Clint says about him. He's versatile. 21 years old. I got him at safety and corner. I'll tell you, I think he's going to make a bigger impact than what Mitchell's going to make because you can get him on the field more. You could put him in the slot. You could put him at corner. You could put him in special teams. I mean, I think he might have an opportunity to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Because you know why? He has an opportunity to get on the field in multiple positions and make multiple impact. I mean, you put him back there. I mean, how happy are you with Britton Covey? I thought Covey had a good year last year. I didn't think he was horrible. But I'd like to see Cooper. Hey, put them both back there. See what they both can do. Maybe there's a new toy for Michael Clay. Who would have thought 3 years removed from me thinking he sucked, Michael Clay, as a defensive special teams coach. Here he is now. He may be one of the top two coaches as a position coach and also as a coordinator that's on that Eagle roster right now, Michael Clay. You put him back there. Get this. Cooper DeJean could be your punt returner. He could be in the slot. He could play corner for you. He's going to get reps. He's going to get reps. Drop him in nickel. I mean, the versatility that they're seeing from the kid so far. And again, remember, helmets and shorts. Helmets and shorts. I didn't realize Kenny Gainwell was 25 years old, running back. I think he's a good two. You know, I don't have a problem with Kenny Gainwell being on the Eagle roster. You know what I have a problem with Kenny Gainwell? Being a feature back. He's not. He's not a feature back. But, hey, dude, having him on your team, dropping him in special teams, I think he's shown enough for me where I'm like this. If he's your two, I think he's okay, man. I mean, hey, Kenny Gainwell as your second back on your team behind Saquon Barkley. Doesn't sound awful. Barkley and Gainwell. I don't know. Well, let me see. DeAndre Swift and Gainwell. What I didn't like was Gainwell Swift towards the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm all right with that. Not establishing Kenny Gainwell in games early like they did last year and not establishing DeAndre Swift was stupid. It was just stupid. Even Clemson people here in South Carolina didn't have anything good to say about him when asked. JM, I think he's a pretty good pass protector. That's one of the things. I thought he had a good year 2 years ago, Will Shipley. Come on now, Gainwell fumbles a lot, and that cell phone thing made me realize he ain't got the mindset for football. The cell phone thing was stupid. Absolutely. Here's the difference. Watch this. Xander's favorite player, A.J. Owens, can show up with a Harley Davidson at a bike event, you know, a charity bike event, and you look at him going, there's A.J. Owens again. But the guy's going to get you 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. So you go like this. All right. Shit. Okay. He's just a guy that likes to have a big target on his chest. He likes to open up his pie hole. It's all right. Especially when you're producing like that. You're all right with it. But when a guy like Kenny Gainwell is putting shit like that out there in game on a cell phone, I don't know. That may not work for me, you know? Yeah, hey, everybody shows up at a Schwinn with a Schwinn bike. This guy's got a Harley. He shows up at the Eagle Autism event with a Harley for a bike ride. Holy cow. Everyone's got their Schwinn, got their little water bottle. This guy's on a Fat Boy. Where are we going? This guy shows up with a Fat Boy. Yeah, but you're all right with that. You're okay with that shit, man, because he's good. All right. Jalen Hurts, 25. Hey, has he proven he can play quarterback in this league? Yes. Is he my style? No. Is he a top 15 quarterback last year? Yes. 22, top 5, top 7, sure. Okay. My problem with Hurts is he's just got to be more consistent. He's got to put some good years. Hey, if you give me 2 good years, and 1 down year, the narrative changes. Does it not? Does it not? It changes, right? Okay. All right. Eagles got a pretty fast receiver. Yep. Can't thank Smitty enough. He's the reason AJ got extended. Yeah. Well, and it's whining. I'll make money. Hey, he had 2 years left on his deal. So wait a minute. Am I right when I say this? He had 2 years remaining on his deal, and they decided to redo his deal and give him a new contract. Hassan Reddick had a year remaining on his deal, and they blew him out, and no one gave anybody a contract extension. The Jets didn't, or the Eagles didn't give Reddick his money. You could have paid him and played him in Philly in 2024. You got $30 million. Shit, man. Our company posts that thing like it's like lottery money. Hey, the Eagles have $30 million. Okay, what are you doing with it? I'm not sure what to think. You got $30 million. Yeah, you know why? Because you're really good at cap management. Absolutely true. What are you going to do with it? AJ's elite. He sure is elite. She is without a doubt one of the most elite wide receivers in the NFL. You know what's funny, though? I had a debate with Xander. Xander's going to be with us at 3:30, by the way. And he would take A.J. Brown if he had to win a ball game over Terrell Owens. One guy's in Atlantic City with a broken heart. The other guy's got a broken leg. He's in the Super Bowl. All right. I'll take the guy with the broken leg that played. I'll take the guy with the broken leg. Hey, I'll guarantee you this. A.J. Brown ain't going to no Hall of Fame. Not in today's rules. Owens is in. Owens is 3 on the list. Wide receiver yardage. Reddick doesn't want to drop in coverage. Bye. All right, replace the 27 sacks, then we're cool. All right, let's move on. T.O. was amazing in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And that season, 1,400 yards. What, in 13 games, 12 games, something like that, right? Was on pace for like 98 catches or some shit and 1,800 yards before he got hurt. Then he shows up in the Super Bowl and puts one of the most iconic performances for a guy with a broken leg. And there's a guy up in New Jersey with a broken heart. Yeah, my foot hurts, and it's a little bit sprained. I'll sit up here, drink Mai Tais. L.A. Owens or Brown or, AJ's a good player. She's wonderful. Let's move on. Cam Jurgens, 24, center. I like this guy. I do. Will he be Jason Kelce? I'm not expecting him to be. But if he turns out to be kind of close, be brilliant. He's got a great offensive coach coaching him. Absolutely, man. I tell you what, Cam Jurgens, the one thing that the Eagles do not miss on, they are really wonderful at acquiring O-linemen and on top of that, developing them. It clearly comes from Jeff Stoutland. It totally does. And he must have so much say in who he wants on his team and his personnel. There is no question that Howie Roseman relies on Stoutland's insight of what kind of player he's looking at. And you're right, Dillard. You're right. Dillard was a miss. But how many times? Look, but watch this. Dillard's a miss. Driscoll's a hit. And I know Stoutland wasn't here when Jason Kelsey got drafted. Howard Mudd was. But both those guys developed him. Both of those guys developed him. So, I mean, I think he's going to be a good ball player. That's a JM. It's a first rounder, though. But then you guess what? Then you were able to use a guy like, what was that guy's name? Was it Jack Driscoll, the guy who was like a Swiss Army knife last year? And you could rotate him around, use him as a swing tackle, put him into guard position. You know, they always seemingly have depth in that offensive line. I like Cam Jurgens. He's only 24 years old. He's a center. He could play guard for you in an emergency. I think Cam's a good player, man. Trevor Keegan, obviously. Helmets and shorts. We haven't seen him in a ball game yet, but, you know, I liked him at Michigan. And here, what round did he go in again? The fifth round? Is that right? Did he go in the fifth round? Well, he went in the fifth round this year. Why? Because the offensive line position was probably 25 players deep. And they were so good this year. It was the best crop of O-linemen I've ever seen, and it had a lot to do with COVID. Those were the COVID kids. Some guys played 6 years. Some guys played 6 years in college. You know what I'm saying? They played 6 years. So at the end of the day, okay, I mean, if he goes next year, he's probably a third rounder. He's probably a third rounder. Driscoll was a nice pick at the time. He was a really good, versatile player for the Eagles. I won't change until Hurts wins. He will never have big passing stats. Christopher, then get this. If he's not going to have, hey, all kidding aside with Jalen, if he's never going to put up big passing numbers, don't have him put up big turnover numbers. I don't think people want Jalen. And I kid with it because of today's NFL and what the Eagles want. You know the problem that the Eagles have right now? And you know what blinds people with Hurts and his ability? The same that it blinds people with Lamar Jackson. Here, this isn't anything to do with passing yards with these guys. Jalen's best season was a season that he had limited passing numbers compared to 23. There was more passing yards in 23, more touchdowns in 23, more attempts, more completions. Why did he play worse? Because you're asking him to do shit and take away and put him in more dangerous positions with more dangerous throws. How many deep targets did he have this past season? Tom Brady was never a deep target passer. How come that? Wait, so you're trying to make Jalen Hurts into a deep passing threat when Brady was never? That's ass backwards. Hasn't Brady, and even to some extent Mahomes, given you the remedy on how you win Super Bowls? Why is it so that the Eagles want to have big playability? Big playability? Let AJ get in open space with yak yards. That's why I'm giving that guy $32 million now. Not because I want Jalen to get the ball in his hands on a 3-yard hitch. Let him go. Just let him go. Brady was never a big target passer, ever. Doesn't it give you the remedy on how to win Super Bowls? Why are you trying to change the wheel? That's why Kansas City got rid of Tyreek Hill. It was about going to the tight end and getting these passes to these guys on these quick hitch passes. That's what Mahomes does now. Mahomes is not a deep target guy. Throws to Kelsey, backs, Pacheco, and he throws to those no-name wideouts. Dude, Jalen Hurts has got to develop a better passing game in the short game, not the long game. The long game puts you in more critical positions for turnovers. So if Jalen Hurts has 39 to 4,000 yards this year and 25 touchdowns, and he limits that thing to 9, you'll be in the Super Bowl. Here, if Jalen Hurts has 39 to 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns and 9 picks, he's in the Super Bowl. He's in the Super Bowl. You can't have 20 turnovers and think you're going to put your team in the Super Bowl. You're just not. Unless you're throwing for 5,000 yards. Hey, by the way, my guy Josh Allen's got to know that. Josh Allen has had so much success per 700 win percentage. Second most wins in the last 3 years. Son, if you just cut the turnovers in half, you're in the AFC title game. You know what separates Burrow from Allen? Turnovers and health with Joe. Okay? That's the difference. Burrow's not going to turn it over as much. That's why you can trust the guy in Cincinnati more than you can trust the guy in Buffalo. Eli Ricks, 22, DB. I haven't seen enough of him. I just haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough. Hey, JM goes in 700 yards rushing. So let me ask you something here, JM, real quick here. Eli Ricks, I don't know. We'll see. Still incomplete. JM, do you want Jalen Hurts as he's getting older to run more or less? You want him to run more or less? Like, do you think in Baltimore, Todd Monken and John Harbaugh want Lamar Jackson to run more or less? Kind of the same skill set guys. Do you think they want those guys as they get older to run less or more? 700 rushing yards? Man, that's a lot of danger, dude. 700 yards. So what are you saying? 150 in carries? Is that what you're saying? 150 in carries? So Barkley's going to get, think about this, what you're saying then. What's that come out to, Xander? Let me get my phone here. So if we're talking about 150 carries again for Jalen Hurts, that's what it's probably going to get you for 700. Is going to be 150 carries. Okay, you're talking 250 carries, 230 carries for Barkley. All right, let's add that up here and talking about how many carries a game we're talking about here. Okay, 150 for Hurts plus 240 for Barkley. That's 390 divided by 17. So you're going to have 23 carries a game, you think? Sills, John Barchard repeating you on ESPN. Eagles and WIP on fire, on life support. Keep kicking. Backs in. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate that. Sills, John Barchard repeating you on ESP. Thank you. Eagles and WIP on life support. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Sean. Sean, it's you guys too. I have the most intelligent football from all over the country and most notably from Philadelphia. That's in Philly. You're the ones that come up and help me make the topics up. That's why they come here. Hey, and by the way, you should take that as a merit badge that you got people now in the Inquirer watching the show, going thumbs up, thumbs down. We did that yesterday, maybe, I think. Didn't we do that yesterday? I mean, it's okay. I don't mind it. You shouldn't either. I go over and sometimes look at a website. I have no problem saying that. Right? We want Jalen to just win by any means necessary. Yeah, but you know what, Monster? I don't think the Eagles want to win like that by any means necessary. Sales Hurts needs to run less. Appreciate it too, Monster. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. All super chats, by the way, continually go to the top. Hey, please hit the like button. We're trying to get to 200 today. That's right. Sip. Tell your folks in here to take a bow. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. You know what's crazy? This is what we call like the calm before the storm when it comes to the season. We're like 2 months out from the start of training camp. So it's kind of like in a simmer right now. Then as football season comes, it starts to get a little bigger. Baseball and basketball, even though the Phillies are doing very well right now, still, Philadelphia will never be a Philly city. You know when Philadelphia is a Philly city? October. Okay? October. That's when it's a Philly city. And you're going to talk about it because you have civic pride with the Phillies. There's no question. And you should. And you should. By the way, I thought it was interesting to see that Wells Fargo was one of the top 10 barns when it came to arenas. And yet that guy wants to try to hijack your tax dollars and create a new, down in the China district, to try to get himself a new barn down there at your expense, even though people around the country considered Wells Fargo one of the top facilities in all America. He doesn't look at it that way. You know why? They're called wealth enhancement programs, using your tax money to make him richer. I wish I had someone going like this. Hey, Sills, I'll tell you what I'll do. Hey, I'll give you and I'll build you a house that you can live in and make all and get all the benefits out of. And guess what? You don't have to pay a dime for it. I'll make your neighbor pay for it. Okay, great. I'm in. That's what he does to you. Okay? He's trying to make you pay for a home and have you build it for him, which increases his net wealth at your expense. And yet you gave him one of the great barns in the city, Wells Fargo. Congratulations to you, guy. It's called carpetbagger. But then again, all the owners do it now. Looking for new stadiums. I mean, it's a wealth enhancement program. You think what? You think you're going to build a football stadium for somebody for 10 games? No, they're going to do it for concerts, Republican and Democratic national conventions, rodeos. You're going to do it for WWE events, and you're going to at the expense of taxpayers, you get none of that. Oh wait, you get to enjoy the nice events. You get to enjoy the nice events. Oh, and by the way, how them PSLs working? You mean to tell me I got to pay $7,000 just to stand in line? And maybe I won't even get a chance to buy season tickets or a partial package on a season ticket? Jesus Christ, talk about taking advantage of Eagle fans. It's not just Eagle fans, it's NFL fans. PSLs? Personal seat licenses? What is that thing? So you double dip me? And then on top of that, you charge me full price for those shitty preseason games. Talk about taking advantage of people. NFL has no shame. Yo, Josh Harris, when the chip first, then maybe we'll talk. Q, amen. Hey, he's telling you this though, Q. Build it and we will come. He's telling you that. No. You build the team and then we'll come. Okay? You build the team first, and then we'll talk about it. That's how you do it. Sills keeps insisting that Jalen is not a good pocket passer. He's not. Worst blitz quarterback in the league, which is simply not true. Jalen was ranked second in pass. Dude, Prince, and you were the most predictable. You know what? I said something to Xander, and I'll continue this here with the top 25 guys and under here. When you look at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in your offense, it's the most predictable offense on the planet. You know what it is? Devontae, A.J., no one else. Defend the numbers. They don't want him throwing across the middle. You're a good pocket passer, and yet you were 1-7 at the end, and you lost everything. How are you a good pocket passer when you're losing games? And you were predictable. And you figured it out. Some coordinators and some people like numbers and points. Some coordinators like to win. What was yours last year? What would you call that? Facts are facts. He's second with the most predictable offense. Okay? You're not winning anything with that. You're not playing, as Keith Byers says, championship football. Great. Get everybody their numbers and paid. That's what you did last year. You didn't get anybody else anything. You didn't give the fans what they wanted, an NFC championship appearance. You got the players paid. Congratulations. Task done. You did everything. You're right, Prince. He did everything last year that basically was the identity of the offense. Everyone got paid. Didn't win anything, but everyone got paid. Right? Jalen could throw. The problem is philosophy and strategy. How come you don't throw to the middle of the field? You think that was by design? Or do you think that they don't trust Hurts across the middle of the field? I mean, you couldn't put any routes to have like AJ and Devontae running across the middle of the field. Why were they all on the numbers? Have you seen his throw chart? When Tone was producing the show, we put the throw chart up. It was all of the numbers. He had a quarterback rating of 8 in the middle. Why? Goddard wasn't there? Well, that's a problem too. You couldn't throw to a back going across the middle of the field? Challenging linebackers, one of the worst positions in the NFL today. The coaches did that too? Okay. Seals, we weren't losing games because of the lack of pocket passing. We were losing games because we weren't running the ball. Sean, you were also losing games because pocket presence and sacks and blitzes. What were teams doing at the end of the year to you? Jalen couldn't pick up blitzes. Kelsey said it. Or did I mishear that? Let me get back to this. 25 and under. I don't even know how we got there. Keely Ringo, 21, DB. I don't know enough about the player yet. Devontae Smith, star. Absolutely a star. Just an absolute star. I couldn't have been more wrong about a player. Just a star. Star ball player. Tyler Steen, Q-ball. Want to not be predictable? Establish run in RPO with Hurts. That's not happening. And Barkley. Mix in some direct snaps with Barkley. Then when teams begging for them to stop, hit them with organically established routes. Q. You want to do the right thing. Q, don't sound, thank you for the super chat. Q, don't sound so smart. That's exactly how that Eagle team is built right now. Right there. They won't do that, though. That's not what they're going to do. That's not what they're going to do. So get this. If you're saying 700 yards rushing with Hurts, and you're predicting 250 carries for Barkley, that's 24 carries a game that you guys are going to have. Do you really think over a 17-game season that the Eagles are going to average 24 carries a game? Do you believe that? Let's see, 24 carries, how many passes? 37? 35? If Hurts throws the ball 35 to 37 times, you're not winning shit. Dude, I want Jalen around 23 to 25, 175 yards passing, 68 yards rushing, touchdown each. You're a weapon. You're a weapon. Bob says, Sills, pre-snap motion helps the quarterback identify coverage and can open up middle of the field. Last year's scheme did nothing to help open up the middle. That's both on the staff and Jalen. Absolutely. It was so on display on how Josh Allen exposed the Eagle defense. Every time they brought motion, remember? Every time Allen brought motion, he knew what zone they were playing. Remember? The DB on the Eagle side of the ball would go to the middle of the field. And as soon as he kept that motion going across the field, what did that DB on Philly do? He went back to his position, wide open across the middle. You had a tight end slanting in across the middle. Or he took off because it was wide open. I mean, they played games so bad with that Eagle defense, it was insane. The Eagle defense was just as bad. They played zone coverages all the time, and they were predictable on that side of the ball. I like the Tyler Steen kid. I want to see more of him. Trotter Jr. looks like he's getting some reps. Helmets and shorts again. He's 21. So Quinyon Mitchell hasn't signed his contract yet? Is that what I'm hearing? Or is he there? He's there, right? Mitchell's practicing, but he hasn't signed his contract. Is that what I heard? Or he still hasn't inked his deal yet? Am I wrong when I heard that? Okay. You're smoking crack if you don't think the best coaches already think how they're going to stack up next play before the ball is even snapped. RPO doesn't do that, dude. That's a quarterback's decision, Jay. That's what's different in the RPO system. Shane Steichen had no idea what the play was going to do. It was all determined on what the players and cross from Jalen Hurts did. That's the key on what Jalen was so good in 22. That element of his decision-making. When you're a drop-back passer, you have to find the open man. You have to make that decision in the pocket, reading defenses. When you're an RPO guy, it's decision split second. It's a split-second decision. Either I keep it or I don't. When you're a pocket passer, you've got to step back, get back in your step, look for the blitz. Where's the pressure coming from? Front door, back door, side door. If I have to get out of trouble, where am I on 1st and 10, 2nd and 3rd? Who's coming across the middle? Is there a wolf back in the middle of the field? Is it cover 2? Is it high cover 2? Is it banjo defense? You got to read all that shit pre-snap, dog. You got to Mekhi Becton is one of my favorite acquisitions of any team including Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. He could turn out to be the best pick this offseason. Could be the best. Okay? Do me a favor, guys, please. Hit the like button. Thank you so much, NJ, for doing that for me, man. I appreciate that. We're trying to get to 200 likes. We really appreciate you guys doing that. All right, we're gonna do another topic here. I'm gonna ask a question. I'll ask Xander this question. This will be at the bottom of the hour. We'll ask this question, but we're gonna ask this when we come back out of the timeout here. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it here. And I'm going to do my starting 22. Actually, Xander, can I do my starting 22 right now? I'm going to do my starting 22 right now before I make a timeout here. Okay, I'm going to do my starting 22. These are the Eagle guys that I want to see starting for the Philadelphia team this 2024 season. We'll briefly go through it here. Okay? Hurts at quarterback, Barkley at running back, AJ at wideout, Aeneas Smith, the other wideout, Devontae. So AJ Brown, Devontae, and Smith will be my wideouts this year. I'm going to play the young guy. I'm not playing some old dude. in the 3-hole. If I'm not going to get any production out of it anyway, play a younger guy. You drafted him, put him in there. Goddard at tight end. Malata, tackle. Not a lot of changes here. Dickerson at left guard. Jurgens at center. Mekhi Becton. I got a right guard. They got Steen right now in the depth chart. I want Becton in there. I want an earth mover. And Lane. So the only change there for me would be Becton instead of Steen. That's who they have. The defense is going to be a little different. Xander told me that John McMullen told him there's going to be multiple fronts. It's not just going to be a base 34. Okay, that's the case. I've got to change here. I want Josh Sweat at left defensive end, not Milton Williams. I want Sweat there. Sweat's a better player. Plus, Milton gives me depth at inside nose and at both ends. He gives me depth. It's like they don't want to lose him. I get it. They'd rather lose Sweat maybe. Okay. Well, Sweat was your best player last year next to Fletcher Cox. Milton Williams gives you depth on injury, and he's a safety net. Yeah, Eagle fan, I'm not saying he's not good. Eagle goes like this. I thought you said Milton was your breakout player. Dude, you can be a breakout player, have 60 tackles, have 8 sacks, and be a swing guy. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the starter. He can break out. He's going to be relied on to play a lot. You have no skilled people in your front that are of any depth whatsoever. That a Jomo guy, don't talk to me about him. Josh Sweat is a guy, and Milton Williams are going to be integral parts of your success this year. Integral parts. Dude, Milton may start as many games as Jordan Davis. I like the player. I got Jordan Davis starting at nose and Jalen Carter at the right defensive end. I'm going to put Huff there. You pay him, you play him. Here's where we're going to change. Sorry, guys. Here's my linebackers inside. Zach Bond instead of Nakobe Dean. And Oren Burks instead of White. My right inside linebacker. Those are my 2 inside linebackers. Not Dean and White. I have no interest in that. No interest. I'm going to put those 2 guys in. 1, Dean stinks, and Devin White has quit on a team and has not been the player he was 4 years, 5 years ago. Again, this is Big Sills starting 22. You drafted Nolan Smith 31st. I'm going to put him there. The secondary is different. Left cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell. No Bradbury. And I would like to see these 2 guys playing safety for you. Cooper DeJean and Gardner Johnson. And Slade playing the right corner. Cooper DeJean and CJ playing in your safety positions. What's wrong with that? Why aren't they playing that? Reed Blankenship is not better than Gardner Johnson. And Cooper's probably better than Reed too. Why don't you play both of them? Look at Prince. White's making noise in helmets and shorts. Easy, kid. You're tackling air. You're tackling air. Why don't the Eagles put Cooper DeJean and Gardner Johnson at safety. And you got Reed backing them up. And then when Sidney gets healthy, look how deep you are. You would have Gardner Johnson, Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, and Sidney Brown. That's not awful. Burks can't cover as well as White. White was one of the worst rated the last 3 years cover linebackers in the league. What are you talking about, dude? JM. At least he can hit and tackle. He can't cover or tackle. Look at his ratings and his grades. Dude, Zach Cunningham had better grades. Nicholas Morrow had higher grades. Facts are facts. Why not put Gardner Johnson and Cooper at safety? Mitchell and Slay at your corner. See, to me, the reason why I'm putting Zach Braun and Oren Burks in there, they're bigger players. And if you're going to be in a base of first and second down of 34, you got to at least try to stop the run. You're going to go, dude, Nakobe Dean is balsa wood. Guy gets broken, and he's not even healthy now. Who's your slot corner? Drop Isaiah Rodgers in there. Drop Isaiah Rodgers. He quit on them like you did. Hey, Prince, what do I have to do with anything talking about the Eagles right now, 2024? What's that got to do with anything? What do I have to do with anything? So spin bad. You put Isaiah Rodgers in that slot. Right? Look what you got in your secondary. Cooper DeJean. You got CJ, Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell, and Slay. You keep bringing up the Bucs. Well, he played for the Bucs the last 5 years. You keep bringing the Bucs up. That's his career. That's who he is. He's not an Eagle yet. Not until he plays in September. He hasn't even made a team yet. He's on the team. He hasn't made it yet. You don't and become an Eagle or an NFL football player until Labor Day when the rosters are set. You're not an Eagle yet. You're on the team trying out to be an Eagle. Rosters are set day after Labor Day. Well, he's an Eagle now. No, he's not. That's something people don't understand. I've been on a team and not on an active roster. You're not officially on that team until after Labor Day. Hey, so here would be my secondary. Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, CJ Gardner. My slot is Isaiah Rodgers, and my other corner, Slay. What do you make of that? All depending on what Mitchell looks like. And Cooper DeJean. Again, here's where I'm going with this. I don't want to play Reed Blankenship in the position. I already know who he is. I want to play my best skilled players that I have. My best play is, how about this? Reed Blankenship is not a playmaker. Gardner Johnson is. Gardner Johnson may get beat on some plays, but Reed gets beat on plays all the time and doesn't make giant plays like this guy does. So I'm playing the player that I'm paying the most and is a big-time game-changing type player with an attitude. Cooper DeJean is my better athlete. I'm going to play a guy who's younger and a better athlete than Reed Blankenship. Blankenship is not trash. He is a good third guy back there. Guy gets hurt, I'm with him. I'm all right with that. Then you get Sidney Brown back. That's my starting 22. Brown's still recovering, I know. Well, then move Cooper DeJean over into the safety spot, strong safety, and move over Gardner Johnson to the free safety. It gives them a chance to roam more. And when you're a nickel, drop that Isaiah Rodgers in that slot. I don't think that's out of the box thinking. You know? And it creates depth for you with Reed backing those guys up. Skilled kid. You're not paying him a ton of money. You got depth now there, and you got a kid coming off the IR soon. Well, I think that's October. Okay, great. It's like getting a free agent sign then. All right, Xander, where are we in the count total? Got to get to 200 today, folks. You guys were fantastic yesterday. I appreciate you guys doing it like you do, too. We're going to talk to Xander here at the bottom of the hour. Xander's killing it on the show. And he's killing it on Birds 365. 96-97. Fantastic, guys. You guys are killing it, okay? Trying to get to 200. Thank you guys very much. Please hit the like button. Xander's going to join us. Also, I got a question to you about Hurts. It's not anything talking about last year. It's talking about 24. All right? Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, But would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
First time I have to say this about Dak Prescott. He's full of shit. Big Sales National Football Show. Xander Krauss will join us at the bottom of the hour here, the host of Birds 365 here in a couple minutes. But Dak Prescott's full of shit. Please hit the like button here. And here's why he's full of shit. I don't play for money. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Everybody that's a pro plays for money. There's nothing wrong saying that. I want to make the most money I possibly can and be rewarded for my skill set. What's wrong with that? Doesn't everybody want to be rewarded for what your worth is? Stop lying, dude. Don't try. That's trying to make yourself endearing, and I get it. He's trying to be a humble guy. But what people respect more is genuine and honesty. Hey, man, I want to be paid for what my skill is and what everybody else in the NFL is being paid at the position. What's wrong with the truth? I don't play for money. Shut the fuck up. You sound dumb. And you sound like you're not genuine, which is standard for the Cowboys. I don't play for money. Hey, don't pay me what my worth is. Who talks like that? A phony. That's a phony. I'd respect the guy more doing this. Hey, man, I just want to be paid what the position's paid, and I just want to be paid what my value is to the Cowboys. We're trying to go through that and figure that out. Is it that hard to say that? I don't play for money. All right. Then you won't mind making less than $60 million. That cool? I'll sign you for what, 18? We're good? No. I thought you don't play for money. You put yourself in an asshole spot and you put your agent in a bad spot. Well, your guy just said he don't play for money. Here's $15,000. Well, no, I that's not fair. Well, you don't play for money. Going to the Mavs game Sunday. Hopefully I see Mozzie and missing so I could tell Mozzie he sucks and missing. Stop crying. They misquoted Dak, by the way. No, I heard the soundbite. I heard him say, I don't really play for money. There's a soundbite also of it. Hey, 304, you actually think that I'd take anything that a reporter would say? Come on. A reporter? You know what that is? That's a guy with a pen in his hand. I don't give a shit about people like that. Oh, real quick before I bring Xander on, here's what I'm doing. Kudos to Andy Reid for backing that Harrison Butkiss guy. You know why? What he said? Everyone has a voice. You know what he was defending? Not the comment, free speech. You know what that means? What Andy said? Hey, everybody's got a right to be an asshole. Good or bad. Everyone's got a right to be an asshole. Speaking, I was thinking of A.J. Owens when, we were talking about a-holes here a little bit. Xander and I he loves this guy. Hey, this guy shows up to like the bike event on a Harley. And the autism event, everybody, he's like, Sills, he's good. I'm like, I know, I'm all right with that. Xander Krauss joins us now.
What's up, Big Sills?
Host of Birds 365. Yeah, man, the guy shows up in a Harley. And, he's a great player, though, isn't he, man? But he loves standing on that hill. Look at me, look at me, look at me.
I got no problem with it, Big Sills. He's putting up yards. He's putting up numbers. That's all I care about. I could care less about all that stuff. And you do too, but you just pick on AJ Brown.
No. Here's the player's good.
The player's more than good.
But he makes the team predictable too. You have to understand that.
I don't really think so. I don't think he does.
So wait a minute. He had a great year.
Hey, Dan, Justin Jefferson. Oh, we know they're going to throw to him. Okay, stop me. They're not going to. I mean, he's too good to make predictable.
I think all those big-time wide receivers make all those teams what? Predictable. You ever notice the teams that win Super Bowls don't have those guys on their team?
It depends, like, who's your quarterback. Let me shut this.
Hold on here, Xander. Check it out. Devontae Adams. Does he make that team predictable in Green Bay? Yeah. Are the Packers on the way up? And what's he doing in Vegas? He's in Vegas now, isn't he? Devontae Adams?
Quarterback. It depends your quarterback.
Oh, wait, here. So Tyreek Hill got that $30 million. He's down where now? I think he's in Miami.
Yeah, but he came from Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to compare Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts.
Wait here.
I know what you're saying, that they go
No, do you? I'm saying that all these guys make their offenses predictable, all these big-time wideouts, and the teams that don't have those big-time, right? Well, you have to have a big-time quarterback. Oh, wait a minute. You're right. You have to have a big-time quarterback.
That's not what I said.
It's not what you said. But those guys all have big-time quarterbacks.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think are you seriously going to sit here and tell me that having a guy of AJ Brown's caliber is a net loss to the Eagles? Is that the hill you want to die on?
Sure. You know why?
Really?
They went 1-7.
You want to go back to Jalen Reagor and Queasy Watkins?
They were 1-7 with him.
Okay, they were also 15-2 of them on the previous 17 games and went to the Super Bowl and lost by one play.
Oh yeah, we go back in time.
He also had a touchdown in that ball game and caught for 100 yards. Like you're being so that's too selective.
That's right. We go into we go back in that time machine with the flux capacitor, and we go back with the flux capacitor back in time.
Okay,
we go back to 2022.
Everybody. You're right. I'd rather have Queasy Watkins and Jalen Reagor than AJ Brown. I mean, come on.
I can't even name you the wide receivers in Kansas City.
No, but they have Patrick Mahomes. Can you name me the wide receivers in San Francisco? Can you name me the wide receivers in Detroit?
Yeah, because they're in the same boat.
Can you name me the wide receiver in Dallas?
Yeah, because they're in the same boat that the Eagles are in.
They got a guy. Detroit and San Francisco just competed for an NFC title. And the year before that, the Eagles did with San Francisco. These are teams that have great players.
AJ ain't delivering shit.
Wait a minute. It's not all on AJ to deliver. It's a team ball game.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Am I nuts? Am I
no?
He'll keep getting his numbers.
He'll keep getting his numbers. He'll keep getting paid, and he'll keep getting his targets, and the win totals will keep going down.
I don't agree with that. They had AJ Brown's been here for 2 years.
They have gone down the last 2 years.
1,500 plus yards 2 times.
And the win totals have come
missed
down.
The playoff game. How did we look in the playoff game? How did the offense look in the playoff game without AJ Brown?
And get this. And the win totals have come down the last 2 years.
Wrench, thank you, man. Appreciate
it. Hey.
Not for praising me, but for the super chat.
No, I like that. Hey, Wrench. At least he's not running like homies. Listen here. The win total went down, right?
What, last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the year previous. Hey, the level of playoff. You went from the Super Bowl to getting knocked out in the division round. No, excuse me, wild card round.
Yeah, but the whole team took a step back last year. That's not all on AJ Brown. Come on, man. He's making the most now. He's the highest paid non-quarterback position player on that team. So the Eagles collapsed because AJ Brown. Because AJ Brown didn't talk to the media for 3 weeks.
I don't know, man. You make a lot of money. You take a lot of heat, don't you?
Okay, look, I'm not saying he's perfect. I would like maybe for him to actually, I wouldn't. I could care less how the guy acts. I actually think he's a great guy. I've never talked to AJ. I've never met him. I've never seen him. But I talked to John, and John is, say what you want about reporters. John is objective. And he says to me, behind the scenes, that's a guy you want on your football team. If I take that opinion, who I trust John McMullen, and I couple that with the production in Philly, yeah, good. I don't care. I don't care if you want to be paid $30+ million a year. I don't. It doesn't bother me one bit.
Guy's taking bows.
No, he's not. Find me a receiver in the league that doesn't want their numbers. Every receiver wants their numbers. That's part of the position.
And will Justin Jefferson ever win a Super Bowl in Minnesota?
No.
Okay. Will Devontae Adams ever win a Super Bowl in Vegas?
No.
Will Tyreek Hill ever win a Super Bowl in Miami?
Probably not. It's very unlikely.
Will St. Brown win a Super Bowl in Detroit?
Potentially, because they did the right thing around him.
Maybe him. They're good. They're
Well,
good up there.
That proves my point. You need a good.
Well, wait. Here's what proves my point.
Like,
All those big
all on
money
the
guys
receiver.
don't
If I have a receiver, I don't win. If I don't have a receiver, I win. It's not a 1-to-1. It's not apples to apples.
Quarterback.
Well, a quarterback matters, but the whole team matters. If I build a great team around A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, I'm going to have the best chance at winning a Super Bowl. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, and you can win regardless of who you line up outside. But these are exceptions. They're not the rules. And you know that. Patrick Mahomes is elite, elite, elite. There's nobody in his league. Not Joe Burrow, not Josh Allen, nobody.
You know what's funny?
So I'm not going to follow that method.
There was a dude that played in Philly that delivered a Super Bowl against Brady, who wasn't a starter, but 1 year in Philly and never really was a starter outside of Jacksonville. What was that guy's name? I forget. Who's that?
I credit that to Doug Peterson. I really do.
Shows you can win,
not only Doug Peterson, but we talk about Nick Sirianni. I mean, you think Nick Sirianni would have taken that team?
Absolutely.
And then they let that guy go. I said to John, we can praise the owner for making, he has been the best owner in Eagles history. There are knocks on Jeffrey Lurie, but boy, the owners they had before were terrible. I like Howie Roseman more than you like Howie Roseman, but I do understand your gripes with him. My biggest knock on them will always be getting rid of Doug Peterson. You talk about it. We got one Super Bowl in 50+ years. That guy beats Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with Nick Foles. It's incredible. And then they just let him go because
it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It was stupid, but it shows you how much the front office values power. And hey, it's their toy, right? Like, what are we gonna do? We're fans of the team, so we're gonna be beholden to it. But I don't like that.
Jeffrey Lurie has over underachieved as an owner?
It depends, I think, who you ask. If you're a Philly fan, diehard Philly fan through and through, and you're a fan, I'm talking about like you're not looking at any of the business stuff. I would say underachieved. I mean, one Super Bowl is not great, right? I mean, it's one Super Bowl. It's not great. But there's a lot of teams that have never won a Super Bowl. So, like, from objectively, I guess you could argue they've been somewhat successful. They have a lot of wins. They've made it to the playoffs a lot. They've won the NFC East a lot. So from that perspective, but if you're like Angelo and all you care about is Super Bowls, and that's how I am, look, if you ain't first, you're last, right? I mean, that's how I believe. Then yeah, I think he's underachieved, but value of the franchise has gone up. They compete every year. I could see how in their world they think they're doing a great job. Or if you're a reporter of the team and you're not a fan of the Eagles, i.e. John McMullen, who he could care less whether the Eagles win, lose, or draw. He's just covering the team. He says they're a great ownership. So I think it depends who you ask. I don't know. You're not a fan of the team. Do you think they've achieved well?
They're 17-18 in the postseason since 2000. Yet, it's a complicated question if you think about it. Now, when you're talking about being around the rim every single year, and pretty much the last 24 years, have they been around the rim where they're in contention there? You'd have to say that them, Green Bay, Seattle, the Rams. I'm talking NFC. They're there. They're there. They're in the mix every time. The Bucks, to some extent, you're there around the rim. Again, I think the control problem that they have it gets in the way a lot. And this is my criticism, and this is
I
my
do too. I do.
this is my view.
Agreed.
I think they do so many good things, Xander. They do more good. How about this? I probably haven't said this, but they do more good things than they do bad things. But the bad things matter the most at the end when it comes to crossing the finish line. Like, you know what they do? They run 75% of a 110-meter race, and they're in first place. And then you know what? The last 25 yards, they trip.
Yeah, it's like incrementally doing things right, and then you do one catastrophic thing that blows up your chance. Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, the playoff record thing is tough because if you get knocked out of the playoffs, like if you don't win the Super Bowl,
you're in it.
The best you can go though is what, 2-1 because you made it to the title game.
Well, look how many years the Chiefs went not winning a Super Bowl from the time.
Yeah, but outside of Patrick Mahomes,
it's 50 years.
Outside of Mahomes and Brady, though, are there any other quarterbacks that have a well into the winning numbers percentage in the playoffs? They don't, because if you get knocked out, you're 2-1 or 3-1.
It's Montana and
and that's going back real far. I'm talking about, you know, in the last 25 years.
Here's Peyton Manning.
What's Aaron Rodgers' playoff record?
He's 12-11.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense because
Peyton Manning's 13-12.
Exactly. So everybody hovers right around 500 as long as you're making it to the playoffs consistently. So I get it, but when you're comparing yourself to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, it's tough to hold the candle. They win so much. Patrick Mahomes is on an insane trajectory.
So are you wanting to compare yourself to Dak Prescott? Is that what you're looking to do?
I walked into that, didn't I? No, You're right. I mean, if you want to compare yourself to people that win a lot, yeah, it's not good, but you're not going to win every year. It's the NFL, man. We're not going to win every year.
What was your
No, I don't want to be Dak Prescott, though. At least we made a title game. At least we made the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott can't even do that.
Not happening. I don't see it with that kid. Vic Fangio and the comments that have been made by the Miami Dolphin players, and now you're hearing some of the comments that are being made. And I like the fact, you know what you're building? You know what the Dolphin fans have done, or the Dolphin players have done? They've rallied the Eagle players before they've even played a game around the coordinator.
So true.
And I think what they've done is it's absolutely going to make Vic's job easier. And those guys are going to buy in quicker because they see the way he's coaching. I actually think the Dolphin big mouths down there did the Eagles a favor.
Yeah. And by the way, that segment you had yesterday on your show talking about this was awesome. It was a masterclass in how to do a good sports show. And it was a fantastic take. I don't care, man, if Vic Fangio, whether I want him to coach you. And that's why I love what Jalen Carter said at the podium yesterday. I know it's just a podium and it doesn't matter all that much, but he's like, he's old school, man. I love it.
The words matter now because you know why? The play can't.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point. And AJ and Jalen Carter, a guy that's that naturally talented. Sometimes those are the guys that don't love the coaches because they're like, hey, man, I'm good. You know, like I don't need to be coached hard. But Jalen Carter's like, I love that. That's good because I view Jalen Carter as a guy that could be a leader on the defensive side of the football.
He was coached by Kirby Smart. Remember where Kirby
apparently
Smart comes from? He comes from Nick.
Apparently, Johnny Mack gave me this intel this morning on Birds 365. He comes from, I forget the name of the school. And he's a Florida guy. He comes from a Florida high school. I can't remember the name of the school. Let me look it up real quick.
Is it St. Thomas?
No, it's not St. Thomas.
Is it an
and apparently it's old school Florida high school football.
Is it Northeastern?
No, it's a weird name. It's tough to pronounce. One second, I'll get it for you.
Is it Yucatan? Is it Yucatan?
APOPKA.
That's where Sapp went to school. He went to school at Apaka High?
Yeah.
That's where Sapp went.
Yep. And John was like, that's an old school type of program where
it is.
They were probably pushing him very hard. So he's used to that type of coaching. I want more guys like that, man. I don't want guys that are, you know, and that's what I like about Jalen Hurts. And that's what I don't like about the dichotomy of Hurts to Sirianni. Like, I think Jalen would be better with the complete opposite style of coach. And that's like a Mike Vrabel, maybe a more offensive guy, but a Mike Vrabel. Like that's why I like Saban with him, right? Like Jalen wants to be pushed. And I think he's okay with being pushed. And when you push him, you force him to be better. And without that, I don't know if Jalen is going to get, if we're going to get the most out of Jalen, when I think Jalen acts like the grown up on the sideline. And I don't like that. I want the coach to be the coach. And don't you kind of feel like that where Nick's like, remember the Super Bowl, the iconic moment in the Super Bowl? Was it the Super Bowl? And Nick's like calling him out, and Jalen's like, yo, dude, put your hands down. Like,
it may have been the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, it was one of those games. I forget exactly when it was, but yeah, Barbara says Hurts left Saban. Well, Hurts left Saban to sit for his career. They left on good terms. He graduated from Alabama. I mean, he wasn't going to play that year. What did you want him to do? Sit there for a second year on the bench? He stayed there a whole year on the bench. I tell you, we had Howard Eskin on during that time, and Howard kind of put that out there and kind of as a rip. And I thought that was not fair to him, because remember what he did do? He sat there the whole year, and then he transferred. He was a good teammate. And to me, I thought that was something that was a task that he wanted to finish. He started the year. He didn't get in a transfer portal. Well, remember, Dan, he came in the SEC title game after sitting on the bench the whole year.
That's right.
Led the team.
And he won that game.
And he won that ball game. And then he left after graduating on great terms. So come on. This is a guy in college his ultimate goal is to make it to the NFL. I'm not going to not dock him for sitting on the bench for 2 years. I wouldn't want to do that either. And neither would you. And neither would any other player that's of any pedigree.
That's why I transferred.
Exactly. And that's why you're now a Miami legend. So
yeah, and right.
It worked out for you.
I'm not sitting for anybody. Big Sills don't sit the bench, dog.
I don't blame you, Big Sills. I don't blame you.
Has Jordan Davis been a bust? Or no? Have you been disappointed with Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I would say it's too early to say bust, but I've been disappointed. But I think when you had Brian Baldinger on, Dan, the other week, I think he hit the nail on the head, because John McMullen talks about this all the time. And sometimes I'm with him, sometimes I'm not. But he's like, people are always going to say Jordan Davis isn't living up to the hype because they drafted him at 13 or 14 overall, and they want him to rush the passer. He's never going to rush the passer. And even Baldy said that, like, he's not a pass rusher. So you could argue, however good he turns out, 13 was too high to take him there. And I think that's going to get blurred into this a lot, but that's not why they got him. And I don't think that's why they're trying to use him. Like John talks about, and we talked about this. I would encourage everybody that's listening, and even you, Sills, I think you would love that segment. I'm not sure if you ever caught it, but I titled it John McMullen's Masterclass on Defense. And John really explains what Vic is going to try and do with this team. And it's not a 3-4. There's 3-4 involved in it, but to say it's a 3-4 base is technically incorrect. They're going to switch to a 4-man front, a 5-man front, and just imagine a 5-man front with this team with Jordan Davis as the nose. That would be a nasty front, man. Like, and again, it's not a stat roll, right? So like, it's tough to justify a 13th pick when he's getting no stats. But if he's making the impact that I think he can make, I don't think it's a bad pick. I think they went a little too high for him, though.
How about this? What clouded it was the combines, because he ran a 4.78, and you're going,
and then you're like, wow, this guy can run.
Drop him in a 3 technique and let's see him get up the field. That's not what he did at Georgia. How about this, Xander? If that guy has this, 22 tackles, 4 sacks this year, but the Eagles are 5th in run defense, that's a win.
Right.
That's a win.
Right.
Because that means the linebackers must be making plays. There must be pressure they must be constantly 3rd and long. Remember, the key to this and the key to pressure is 3rd and long. Why did that defense fall apart last year? The only thing keeping that thing together, like a zip tie, the only thing keeping it together was the fact that they were good against the run all the way up until week 13. When that thing went away, it all collapsed.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got to stop the run first. They stop the run, pressure will come.
Yeah, I agree. And the one thing I'll just say this on Jordan Davis, I had the opportunity to JAKIB Media produces the live event of the Maxwell Awards. We've done that. We did that for 3 years, and it was really cool. I actually have some great stories I think the viewers would enjoy from those. I met Jalen Hurts. I met Nick Sirianni. I have a funny Nick Sirianni story from it. Brandon Graham, great guy, awesome guy. And I met Jordan Davis there. This was before he got drafted by the Eagles.
I remember the pictures you sent me.
Yeah, like he really he's got, when you're around him, you're like, this guy looks like he's going to dominate the NFL. Now that's not the end all be all, but one quick more story on the Maxwell Awards. So I'm at backstage, and this was the year that Sirianni won. This was the Super Bowl year. So Jalen had won the best NFL quarterback award.
Burt Bell.
Burt Bell. Sirianni had won the coach award. I forget the name of the coach award, and BG was there as the veteran. It was giving Dak award or something. So BG comes around. I shake BG's hand, firm, crisp. What's up, BG? I talk to BG. Jalen comes around. He's cool, stoic. I took a picture with Jalen. Shakes my hand, firm handshake. Nick Sirianni comes around and is like, and he shakes my hand. It's soft like Charmin. I'm like, I don't know if I can trust a guy that can't shake my hand. So but I've always held that in my head of I don't know about
remember, man. Anybody who whispers or anybody who stands in the dark, don't ever trust them, dude. I don't like people who whisper.
Yeah, and men that shake your hand like this with four fingers,
like a waiter. I'm not.
Not having it. I'm not having it.
By the way, something that's off topic here. Did you see the homes that Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts live in? $600,000, $400,000, and
I don't know how much. I don't know. I will say I don't know how much truth there is to that. I know they were their original homes, but I think they were what they bought on their rookie contract. So I don't know if who knows if they've upgraded since they got their big money.
I could see Devontae living in that.
I could too. I really could, especially in his playing city. He'll probably ball out when he goes back home. Or
goes back to Alabama, buys himself
or wherever he wants to live. Yeah. So but pretty cool. I think it says a lot about these guys.
I do too.
I will say, I'm with you sometimes how he misses in the draft, but in the last 4 years, it feels like there's been a shift in the type of player they're acquiring. And it's a lot of guys that have winning mindsets and aren't caught up in all of that, the dumb stuff. And Jalen Hurts has it. Devontae Smith has it. Landon Dickerson. These are all, I like that. Now they haven't all panned out. Some of the Georgia guys, I mean, they got to step up. I'm calling this year the year of the Georgia Bulldog on the Eagles. I mean, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter. I mean, these are all guys that have to take significant steps forward. So, yeah, Barb, he did. He gave me the dead fish. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And it felt like a piece of Charmin toilet paper. It was so soft. I'm like, what is that guy lotioning up before this event? That's weird.
Hey,
grizzly dude that's coaching the football team,
It's all cold and clammy and shit. You're like, nah, man, this ain't cut. Hey, I put a list together of Eagle players, since you mentioned this, 25 and under, that's on the roster right now. And you know what? Some of this is going to be incomplete. So,
right. Exactly.
I really like this Mekhi Becton sign that they had.
I didn't realize talking about him at right guard. See, I was with you on that. I was right there with you. And my problem with it is I still would like to see it because I think it would be better. But after talking with John so much on Birds 365 every day, and again, whether you like John or not, it doesn't matter to me. John is I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about anybody, whether they like John or not. He's very objective and he knows this team. He knows the inner workings of the team. He's got great inside sources, inside information. He says it's a very, very, they want Tyler Steen to be the guard. They're giving him the podium treatment. It's his job to lose, basically. And the other thing that he said that, about Mekhi Becton was Mekhi Becton standing next to Jordan Mailata. It's the first guy we've seen in years that looks like Jordan Mailata.
He's enormous.
Dan, Jalen's only 6'1". Can you have that? You know what I'm saying? Mekhi Becton, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. Hurts is a 7-step drop just to be able to see over some people.
6'6", 6'6", 6'3", 6'5", 6'8".
Yeah, Mailata's 6'8", Dickerson 6'6", Becton is 6'7", and Lane is 6'6". It's Jalen's not that tall. It's not like we have Justin Herbert. We have
the Jalen pillars of Philly.
Yeah, really. So I don't know. I don't know if he would work in there. He's also never played a down of guard in his football career. Yeah,
he's probably going to be the swing tackle.
Yeah.
Reed Blankenship, 25 safety.
Yeah, he's just a role player right now to me. I'd like to see. I think Sidney Brown. I like his upside. To me, I think Sidney Brown's going to be a good player. He's coming off the injury, obviously. So Was it Achilles or ACL? I think it was maybe Achilles for Sidney Brown. I can't remember which one, but I'd like to see him step up. They like Reed though, Dan, and they signaled that when they picked up that future contract for him. So he's technically under contract for another 2 years. But my problem with the safety position right now is with all the depth at corner and even the depth at the slot position, don't you want to get Cooper DeJean on the field this year?
Let me go here because I this is my vision. It's not where the depth chart is now because I've seen the depth chart.
Right.
Clint sent me a depth chart.
Yeah.
But here's my depth chart. I got Quinyon Mitchell playing left corner. I've got Gardner Johnson and Cooper DeJean in the safety positions. I want to get him in the strong safety position, free safety position. I want to get Gardner Johnson there and Slay. And when you go nickel in the slot, you put Isaiah Rodgers in there. Yeah. I mean, to me,
see, that was my original thought. But like after seeing, did you see who they had in team 1 and team 2 yesterday and team 3? So yesterday, no Bradbury was there. So they had, now they're going to put Mitchell there for the season. They didn't give him Mitchell if the team 1 to Mitchell because he's a rookie. They're going to make him earn it, which I understand. But without Bradbury yesterday, they had Slay at cornerback 1. They had Isaiah Rodgers on the outside corner in place of James Bradbury. And then they had Avonte Maddox in the slot. Now, Avonte Maddox never stays healthy. But if he's healthy to start the season, you could probably pencil him in at nickel corner.
But what I'm going to do with Maddox is this. I'm not going to start him, man. I'm going to try to get as many
I'd rather
games
get the young guys. Yeah.
Get as many games and reps as I possibly can. Get him on the field. Watch it. Xander, sometimes coaches will do this. If you got a history of being injured, you know what they'll do? They won't start him, but he'll play the majority of the reps.
Right. And they actually did. So what they did yesterday was they swung for the back end of the team 2 and team 3. They put Avonte Maddox at safety. And I think that would be more likely because Cooper DeJean played nickel corner yesterday, and then they moved him outside on team 3 to be outside corner. Like, I don't think they drafted him to be a safety, and their fear there is if they move him into safety, he's probably going to end up staying there, and I don't think they want that. So my point is I think they would move Avonte Maddox to be the safety, maybe safety number 4. You have Gardner Johnson, Blankenship, Sidney Brown, and then Avonte Maddox, and then maybe shoot Cooper DeJean in on the slot. But I'm with you. I think Cooper DeJean has to be on the field.
I want to get him on the field.
Me too. Definitely.
See,
and Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is a shoe-in for cornerback too.
I actually think this guy DeJean could actually be a candidate for Rookie of the Year because you know why? You're going to be able to put him in multiple positions.
Yeah.
Kick returner, punt returner. You're going to be able to put him in the slot position. You're going to put him at corner. He's going to get on the field more potentially than Mitchell. Here's my problem with Mitchell. So are you going to play Mitchell a lot in the exhibition or are you not? Okay, so wait, you have to. I agree. But that's not their history.
Yeah, it's not. They are showing some signs this summer of changing things.
Maybe Vic pushes that.
This is their first since Sirianni has been here. This is their first mandatory minicamp coming up in June. They haven't had one of them. They're having the OTAs, obviously, and there's been pretty good attendance, I would say. These are voluntary, remember. You have, all your stars. That's the other thing I like about, going back to AJ Brown real quick. This guy's got paid $30 million. Come on, he doesn't have to be a voluntary OTAs, but he's there. He's there. He's playing hard. He's showing these guys how a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL looks and operates. Come on, man. Give him some credit, Dan. Give him some credit.
Showing up, making $32 million. Okay, sure, all right. Hey, Jesus criminy. What do you want to do? Give a guy a pat on the back for doing his gig?
No, I'm not going to pat him on the back, but I'm going to credit him for not taking the day off when it's easy to do that.
All right. Here's my linebackers. Zach Bond and Oren Burks.
Oren Burks is interesting. He was actually a decent player in San Francisco.
I want a little more size inside.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that route. I don't. I think Zach Bond
you watch. They're going to be forced to because those two guys won't be able to hold up because they're small.
Nakobe Dean's not going to hold up. I'm with you on Nakobe Dean. I'm almost done with Nakobe Dean. Well, it's not a new injury. This is the same foot injury he's been recovering from.
He had two different foot injuries on all of his missing. You know.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
I could put him on a milk carton soon.
Now, I will say one thing that I was excited by. From our breakdown this morning on Birds 365 with Johnny Mack, who got to spend the whole OTA down at NovaCare yesterday. He's been very hard on Devin White, does not like Devin White, says his fans are way too excited. This is a guy that is, has never lived up to the hype. He had 3 good games in the playoff run with Tampa Bay, and ever since then, he's been basically a disaster. John McMullen came out of there, and I know it's helmets and shorts. I know you're going to give me the whole spiel. I don't need it, all right? I've heard it before. He looked really good. And when I say that, he showed that athleticism. So if he can pull that out a little bit, like I want to, at least he's showing that why he was taken 5th overall. Like there is that athletic freak is still in there. Can Vic Fangio pull it out of him? I don't know, but I would go as far as to say if he succeeds this year, that could be the biggest piece of the defense because right now we have nothing. I mean, you just gave me Zach Bond and Oren Burks. If Devin White can be 50% of the best version of himself, the linebacker room will be significantly improved.
You think he has 159 tackles like TJ Edwards did his final year?
I don't. Because I think the one thing that Devin White struggles with that he doesn't have that a guy like TJ Edwards did have is he doesn't have that instinct. A lot of people knocked him on that. He's very athletic. Well, TJ Edwards was the opposite, right? He was an undrafted guy who wasn't a 5-star recruit, didn't have all the athletic traits, right? But his instinct off the line was impeccable, and that's why he got so many tackles. So I don't think he's going to get that many tackles, but I just want to see Vic Fangio put him in the right position. Hopefully he can do that. Hopefully he's receptive to a coach like Vic Fangio. Kind of sounds like Devin White was, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but when you talk to some of the Bucs reporters, kind of sounds like he was a guy that didn't like to be coached hard and wanted like that. So hopefully
he pouted about his contract.
Yeah, pouted, but he's one of those guys. He pouted about a lot of stuff, and I'm hopeful he can not be that. He can turn it around here, and we can get the most out of him.
Did John happen to say what a role that Trotter Jr. might have?
Yeah, I pressed him on this because I'm like, are we shooing in Trotter like way too soon? So yesterday they had, because Nakobe Dean wasn't participating. He was out there. He wasn't participating, but they had, they had Devin White and they had Zach Bond, and then they had Ben Van Sumeren and Oren Burks in the second lineup. And they had Brandon Smith and
wow. They didn't even give him any reps.
And Trotter, he was on the 3rd team. So I'm like, where's if Nakobe Dean's back, that's 5 guys. Now, John kind of said they're always going to put the rookie at the back to make him work for it. He's probably going to jump Van Sumeren. He's probably going to jump, even Oren
Can I tell
Burks,
you what he's doing? What he's doing? He's letting Trotter look and watch, sitting back and watching how these guys play technique. Playing in the NFL is a lot different than in college. You could do a lot more cheating in college because of your ability. And the pros, you have to be precise in the pros. So sitting back and watching, I guarantee you, Vic's a linebacker coach. He went to him and said, if I were you, I'd watch these guys that have played the position for 4 or 5 years and get a sense of what no false steps, being able to
the problem with that is, though?
What?
Who's he watching? Like, seriously, and I agree with your point. It's great. Learn from the guys, but he's what Nakobe Dean hasn't done squat in the NFL. Ben Van Sumeren's a nobody. Oren Burks has been okay at best. You want to learn from a guy that's been okay at best? Devin White has what it takes.
It's helmets.
He's never quite put it down. He's never quite lived up to the potential. He's not really.
But it's helmets and shorts. It's just steps. It's not anybody engaging.
Saying, he's also true. Yeah. So there is stuff
you're not engaging, but you get this. You know why Oren Burks and Zach Bond are great to learn from? Here's why. They don't really have a lot to offer teams, so they can't make mistakes.
It's true.
Those guys cannot make mistakes.
They won't, though.
Oh, no. But if Vic puts you there, this is what he's getting the best out of.
Right.
You can watch. And if these guys suck, you're out. So, I mean, next dude up. So to me, when you're fighting for your job, you can't make mistakes. And because there's no engagement here, you're not having full contact practices. You're just making step practices. It really doesn't matter who's in there. Like you said, do I have to have A.J. Brown out there to run a route? No. Okay, I don't have to have him out there. Now, for me, though, what I would like A.J. and Devontae doing is because of these two young corners that you have, Cooper DeJean and with Devontae, I want them to give those guys workouts every day. I want those guys going at them like you were at Alabama and you were playing against some of the best players in the nation.
Players. That's such an underrated part of this. If you're practicing every day versus A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, I can assure you, you're not going to be too scared of whoever you're facing on Sunday. They're going to be comparable, you know,
or less.
Yeah, or less. In
Most of the time, you're going to see less.
Exactly. I would love that. I would love them to battle it out, and that's that's kind of my point too, right? Like those rookies at cornerback, they have guys like Darius Slay, who's been an All-Pro, who's been a Pro Bowl cornerback 6 times. Like there's a lot to learn from a guy like Darius Slay, even if he's not at his best right now at this stage of his career. Like who's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. watching? Somebody put it in here that I liked. Let me find it. He's learning from his dad and Seth Joyner. And I'm like, yeah, that's good for me. Learn from those guys. Don't learn from Oren Burks.
Yeah, well, if Vic tells me something versus my dad or Seth, sorry, Dad. Vic's my new father.
I get it. Yeah, you're right. But at least Seth has played at a high level.
I get all that, but you know what? Hey, Seth, you're running down Lawrence Taylor and you're running around with those guys. It's different NFL than
okay, I'm not comparing Seth to Vic Fangio, though. I'm comparing him to Oren Burks. I'd rather him listen to Jeremiah Trotter and Seth Joyner than freaking Oren Burks.
Orenthal Burks.
Orenthal. I actually think I don't want to give him too much hate because I do think he was decent in San Francisco. Yeah, he wasn't too bad.
He stepped in when Big Dom put the Juju on Greenlaw. Didn't he step in?
Is that who stepped in? Because
was it him that stepped in? I thought if that's the guy, I thought he played well.
Yeah, that game changed though. When what's his name?
Did.
Yeah,
get this. Remember when Mahomes goes, whatever his number was, he goes, hey, 50-something is out. 50-something is out. And you're like,
that was the Dom Maloik, as you called it.
Yeah, the Dom Maloik. After the whole thing, he dropped the Maloik on him. Guy blows out his Achilles here, man. Hey, but see, look, I talk good about A.J. Owens. I mean, look, what the hell do you want from me, man? I gave
talk about a good guy to learn from, man. Those two, what you're talking? You had Anais Smith as your starters. Listen, young man, watch A.J. Brown. Watch Devontae Smith.
Watch Devontae.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen, it's all good. Don't worry. He. Now here we go. As I loved Angelo on the other day, and Angelo still thinks 5 wins.
That's
you
crazy.
think he's crazy, right?
I think I think deep down you do too. Like, all right, you cannot be an Eagle homer. Ready? I'm ready to put. All right, let's say I'm a Cowboy fan. Like, bro, the Eagles aren't winning 5 games.
No,
the New York Giants might win more than 5 games.
If Barkley goes down, how many games do they win?
I don't think it'll mess it up too much.
Okay.
If AJ goes down, that's a different story.
Okay, this is a good game to play. Okay, we'll take that out now. If AJ goes down, how many games do they win?
9 and 8.
If Devontae goes down, not all of them. I'm just saying if Devontae goes down.
Maybe 10. I'll tell you what, the drop-off from wide receiver 1 and 2 are really good. But, boy, after that wide receiver position is scary bad. They had Joseph Nada out there yesterday because Devontae couldn't show up.
I know. Hey,
yeah, that's trouble.
If Mulata goes out.
Ooh, that's a tough one because that's Jalen Hurts' weak side. That's his blind side. That's tough. I don't know that we have Becton. Like I think Becton can be serviceable. Now he's not going to be Mulata, but can he be better than 15 tackles in the league with Stalin? I think he can be. I think he can be a top 15 tackle.
If Slay goes down.
I don't think too bad because they're playing a lot of zone D, remember, where Darius Slay's older. He knows he's not playing press cover anymore. He's not playing that type of cornerback. We have great athletes in that room. Another guy that's been slept on a little bit, who John says is a bad practice player, is Keely Ringo. And I know Keely Ringo because I'm an Alabama football fan, and I watched him versus Alabama. Now, that's a different level. I understand that. But that's a guy that has a lot of talent. So another guy, if Vic Fangio can pull it out of him, I actually think we would be okay if Slay went down. And I don't think they could. They better be ready because Darius Slay's 33, man. He's not 30. 33 is older. You know, there's a lot of fast wide receivers in this league. So they should be ready for that.
What if Jalen Carter goes down?
Trouble. Because that whole defense is going to hinge on that front. And if he goes down, you'd have to put Milton. They don't have much depth at defensive tackle. They really
or end.
They have at least a little more at end, though. I mean, you have Sweat, you have Hoff, Nolan Smith, kid. You have to do something. I don't care if you have to now.
Those are undersized guys, though, man.
I know, but at least they have bodies. Brandon Graham. I mean, Brandon. This is not like I saw Barb in here was kind of chirping having Brandon Graham back. Go look at Brandon Graham's stats. He didn't play a lot of snaps last year. He was very effective in those snaps. And the other thing to keep in mind, this is his last year. This is his swan song. He's going to leave it all on the field. I think he's a perfectly fine fourth string edge rusher. I have no issues with Brandon Graham coming back at all. I actually think he's a better fourth.
Plus the money's not horrible. It's not.
And he's a guy that, he strip sacked Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Like, go look around the league. Wait a second.
100 years ago.
Shut up, Dan. Go look around the league and tell me where there's a defensive end that's the fourth string that's as good as Brandon Graham. You're not going to find it. So a guy that has done what he's done in Philadelphia is getting paid what he's getting paid to be the fourth string. Sign me up all day and twice on Sunday. I'm going to make that move every single time. And Brandon Graham is the salt of the earth. He is an unbelievable man. I've had many conversations with him behind the scenes. Not that matters about playing on the football field, but he's a very, very good man. Great guy.
All right. I have a couple questions here for you now let's play a game here with this. By the way, do you think that the Eagles would do this? If there is some type of struggling going on at the beginning of the season, do you think they would allow Nick Sirianni to run through the tape? Or do you think that they would make an in-season decision? Because this is where I'm going to go here.
Yeah, Lurie hasn't shown to want to do that a lot.
Didn't he fire Chip late in the year?
I think it was like, I forget. You guys in the chat would have to tell me exactly what week that was.
It was like
I think it was late
or 15.
Yeah, it was late. It was real late in the year. The only reason that I would say that that's possible is because Jeffrey Lurie, this roster's, come on, you got to give Howie credit. Nick, you got everything you could ask, especially as an offensive coach. Like, dude, you got it all now. Like, if you can't figure out how to make this football team win, then maybe you were never meant to be a head coach. And I say that with all due respect. Like, maybe you were better off as being a coordinator or a wide receiver coach. Like, there's a lot of talent on this football team. It's time to, put it down. It's time that, it's like,
I get it.
You got to get something out of it. So from that perspective, though, if they underperform, I think it's possible because of that. Like, Jeffrey Lurie, as he should, is probably coming into the season like, all right, we got to win. We got to win. There's no, we had a late season collapse. We're going to turn it around. There's no excuses this year. You got to win, young man. You got to. You have to. And if you don't, we're going to be forced to go in a different direction.
I want to throw some names off you here.
Got it.
To replace Sirianni after 25. Belichick? Hey, by the way, Philadelphia Inquirer, thank you very much for coming in here and reading my my topics and my content. I saw your front page, thumbs up, thumbs down. We did that yesterday. It's all good. Hey, man, I go to some places too, but it's
the
really
only guy that likes attention more than AJ Brown is.
Hey,
Everybody
is
everybody in the chat. Who's the only guy in Philadelphia that likes attention more than AJ Brown?
I don't know why people come to and think. I have no idea. I mean, holy cow, these guys, man. This is incredible. Belichick, thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you?
Thumbs up for me. It's different than what where they've gone. It's different than the direction that they've done. But apparently Howie's loves the guy. And remember,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That was new news to me. And remember, Jeffrey Lurie he's a New England guy. He likes the Patriots. So he's probably got a lot of respect for him. And McMullen did confirm that was real this offseason. Wasn't
it just a friendly check-in kind of call? Hey, how you?
Yeah.
Or do you think there was more to it?
There was more to it.
Okay.
Now, it was just that because they hadn't made the decision to move on from Nick. But that wasn't just hey, Bill, how'd your year go? That was look, we had a weird end of the season. Would there be interest type of call, I think. And I think it would be weird because how would they do that? Do you think Bill Belichick would take a back seat to Howie on personnel?
Here's the thing you got to remember with Bill. He's got 2 years remaining at $20 million. Okay. The reason he didn't take that Atlanta job was because it's $20 million and control of what he wants is what Jim Harbaugh got in Los Angeles, complete autonomy and the money. Well, why would I do this, Xander? Why would I take a job
at GM in Atlanta is also a doorknob.
Why would
I know you're hard on Howie, but I'd rather have Howie than that doorknob.
Hey, right. Why would I take that job though for $9 million and no control when I'm making 20 from the Patriots?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not taking that. Everyone's like, Belichick doesn't have a job. No, he has $20 million on the beach though.
But I think that's what's interesting to Bill. When he didn't have Brady, which I don't like to make too many opinions, honestly, on the whole Brady or Belichick type thing because I've never played football at a high level. I can't just sit here and say it. Right. That's to me, it's both. But
both.
I don't know. If you look, the one thing I will say, Belichick's record without that guy is not good. It's putrid.
Okay, that is fair. It's fair. However, give me a great coach in your opinion, somebody you revere. Give me a great coach in NFL history who you go, that guy's just a great coach outside of Belichick.
I'm young. I'm 26 years old.
Pick one.
It's Bill Belichick.
Okay, Andy Reid. Okay, what's Andy Reid without Mahomes?
Yeah, it's true.
What's Bill Walsh without Joe Montana? What's Chuck Noll without Terry Bradshaw?
Okay, ready for this then? So let's say Bill Belichick comes to Philly. Take Tom out for a second. Put Bill Belichick's record with personnel and drafting up with Howie Roseman's. The whole spiel. Whose is better? I think Howie's.
I'll take the 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they had Tom during that. Tom made a lot. Tom was like Patrick, where he could win with not a lot of talent. Now,
okay. Well, you tell me this then. Okay, during the Brady time, and you're right. See, Brady kind of skews that personnel conversation.
It's tough to judge his personnel because of Brady.
But here, you had free agent wide receivers. You had a trade with Wes Welker. You had a second-round pick in Gronk that he found.
Yeah, that's true.
You had no first.
That's maybe the best one, yeah.
The quarterback was a 6th rounder. So think about this. You won 6 Super Bowls with a 6th-round quarterback, free agent wide receivers, and a 2nd-round tight end and a murderer who was taken in the 4th round. You had no guys in the top.
Okay, so is that personnel?
You had no first-rounders. Bill did that. He found all those guys.
But is that him being a good personnel guy, or is that him being an amazing football coach?
Both.
My point is,
remember something, Nick Caserio.
I think he would work with Howie in that. Howie, if you build me a team like this, I'm going to have say on who plays on Sundays. I think he would take that. I think Bill would be a great coach of that team. But I think there would be compromise. Jeffrey Lurie's not moving on from Howie Roseman. No. I promise you that right now.
No. And remember something. Nick Caserio and Scott Pioli were the personnel guys helping with the New England Patriots during that time. Right. Scott Pioli is related to Parcells. They were in the Giants, and those guys were all picking those Giant teams also.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember that he had great front office personnel. But when you're good, Xander, you get Andrew Berry, you get Joe Douglas taken from you, you get all these guys taken from you. All right, let me go here. How about Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, I think he would be good. Without the pedigree though that Belichick has, I don't think they're going to go with a defensive coach. Look at every single coach they've hired. Seriously, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. I mean, even back before them, Andy Reid. They like offensive coaches.
Dude, the last guy I think that the Eagles hired that was a defensive coach, wasn't it? Ray Rhodes?
Ray Rhodes. I see, and that's kind of before my time where I'm not as well versed in that era of the Eagles. So, yeah, I think it'd be Ray Rhodes.
I think Ray was the coach before Andy.
Yeah, he was. Ray Rhodes.
Yeah.
There you go. Dean All Pro says it in the chat. Yeah, it was Ray Rhodes. So, in the last 20 years of the Lurie era, he's had an offensive guy at the helm. I don't think they would go Vrabel. I think they would break it for Bill because Bill is Bill, right? But I don't think they would break that mold for Mike Vrabel. I just don't think he's had enough success at the position at head coach.
You think there's any coincidence that Bill Belichick coached the greatest defensive player and the greatest offensive player in pro football history, Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady?
I would say there's no coincidence to that. That's too many things equal that's not a coincidence, right? I mean,
and championships.
Yeah. I would say there's no coincidence to that.
How about Ben Johnson, OC Lions? That guy turned down 2 jobs.
Yeah. He's done really good. I mean, he's made Jared Goff like
$53 million, and the receiver just got 32.
And we're talking about Jared Goff.
Wasn't that guy St. Brown drafted like in the 4th round or something?
Yeah, and boy, has he turned out to be a player, that Amon-Ra St. Brown.
But that's putting him in a position to succeed too.
That's the kind of coordinator I want. I will say, and I don't know much about him, so I don't want to put stick my flag in the sand on this, but he did kind of seem like a snarky dude. Like, yeah. So that's I don't know. Okay. Maybe, that's okay. You're right. If he's great on offense, I don't really care. But I think he'd be a good fit. I'd love to see them get another. That's why I don't know about Kellen Moore, because I would love to see them get another version of Shane Steichen where there's an offensive line that knows how to, like, they look at Jalen Hurts and they're like, okay, you don't throw the ball like Josh Allen, but you have this skill set, and I know exactly how to make that the best.
Here's the guy, Todd Monken, the guy in Baltimore. The guy just won the MVP. They just won home field advantage in the AFC with the Ravens. This guy is a skill set guy that fits Jalen Hurts' skill.
Yeah.
Here's an offensive coordinator. Now,
is he the offensive coordinator in Baltimore?
He's the offensive coordinator in Baltimore, and he's also the play caller. But here, you got to remember this now. You hire a guy like that with that offensive personnel, that means you're set in stone with Hurts, because if that thing goes sideways, that means you got a coordinator that you're going to be looking for a quarterback. You know how hard it is to find, let alone a drop back quarterback. A dual threat guy like Lamar and Jalen are impossible to find.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to be stuck with 2 guys here. I mean, I want to see somebody like Todd Monken get that. That's who I want to replace Nick Sirianni, because it fits Jalen's skill set.
Why are you so convinced that Nick Sirianni is going to be replaced? Because I just got done telling stories about him. I'm not the biggest Nick Sirianni fan. I'm really not. That's full disclosure. I'm a big Eagle fan. I've given Hurts his credit. AJ Brown, not a huge Sirianni guy. But if this team succeeds, they're not going to get rid of him, Dan. That's the realistic approach to this.
But then it's a remedy. It's a remedy for disaster again. You're going to be changing out. So you're gonna let Shane Steichen walk out the building again.
The problem with this, here's my problem with this, right? Remember, I did grow up liking this team. In order for Nick Sirianni to be out the door, this team would have to fail bad. They would have to win 5 games of their first. They would have to win 5 to 8 games. They would have to pull an Angelo Cataldi on us.
But for me,
and to me, I don't think that's possible.
Hold on. Get this. All right. If Doug Peterson had won 11 games his final year in Philadelphia, would they have fired him?
No way. No way. No way.
So how were they almost going to fire Sirianni with 11 wins? I mean, this guy had 11 wins.
Yeah, it's true. But boy, you know how that looked at the end, man. That didn't feel like an 11-win team.
Oh, it felt like a 4-win team.
Yeah. So, spur of the moment when you're in that position, and remember that playoff game, because I remember this is another thing I talked to John about. He's like, when I flew down to Tampa, I confidently said going into that football game, doesn't matter what happens here, Nick Sirianni will not be getting fired. On his plane ride home, he said, man, I don't know. Nick Sirianni might be getting fired because the team looked that bad down the stretch. So it's kind of a different scenario, but there's no world that Doug Peterson would have been fired if he won 11 games that year. Also, I don't like to live here because it's fantasy land, but I would have loved to see Doug Peterson and Jalen Hurts. I would have absolutely loved it. You go back to before.
You think he would have embraced him?
100%. Dan, film study for you. Go back to that year, Jalen Hurts' rookie year, and watch the last 4 games.
New Orleans or Atlanta, something in there, right?
New Orleans was good too. Arizona. Those last 4 games, now he went 1-3, but the team was terrible. The team wasn't playing good. Watch how he had Jalen Hurts throwing the football. And this is rookie year Jalen. This isn't like Jalen that's taken many steps forward, Jalen. So I think Doug Peterson and I think Doug would have been the match that I just described that I wanted. An offensive mind that knew how to take Jalen Hurts' skill set and make it the best. And we never got to see it because they moved on from him because they cared so much about power. Again, my biggest knock on the front office. Just drives me crazy. I would have loved to have seen Doug Peterson move on from Carson, keep it, how he can have his control like he had when Doug was gone, and let Doug Peterson coach this football team. I think we'd be able to be in a better spot right now if we did that.
I'm going to ask you one last question. I was going to save this for the top of the hour, but I'm going to ask you this question. If 2024 is a repeat performance of 23 for Hurts, what would his future be in Philly? And Angelo the other day said, I think he would demand potentially to be traded. Now, you brought a great point up about him sticking it out at Alabama and not leaving. Is that the kid's character? Now, remember, his legacy's on the line here. He doesn't have that autonomy to be redshirted in the NFL. Right. You've got to make that decision on what you're doing. So just like with Dak right now, they're in a dilemma in Dallas on what to do with him, right? Yeah. What's the alternative? Okay.
Yeah, and that's where Jerry's playing. That's why Jerry's not playing the right game right now.
Jerry doesn't have the leverage here. I think Dak has the leverage here with this. So
and he's going to pay more, Dan. That's what I like about.
Going to give him 60.
Exactly, and they could have went about the deal earlier, paid him more money up front. This is where the Eagles front office is running circles around some people. Jerry's waiting until the last minute on CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. Yep. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith are under contract through 2029. Now CeeDee Lamb is going to get paid more than AJ Brown. And they're probably not going to work the cap the same way. They're getting their circles run around, and it is a credit to Lurie because he lets Howie spend the money up front. Yeah, as you talked about the other day.
How do you think that would play out if there's a repeat?
Yeah, back to the question on Hurts. I think Hurts would still have all the leverage because I'm trying to look it up now. But if you if you trade him let's say after this year, his dead cap is still $107 million. That's not eatable.
No way. That's not feasible.
Yeah. So this year, if you moved on from him this year, which they obviously didn't do, we're going into the season. This offseason, it would have been 120. Next year it would be 107. The following year it would be 52 million.
What's that?
So Jalen kind of is in control here. If he wants to stay, he's going to stay.
What's the year though they have where they have a pause in the contract where they
potential out is 2028.
Okay, that's still distance.
That's very distant.
That's still the too far out for them to move
around Hurts. If this team fails,
they have to restructure.
No, if this team fails drastically, Hurts is not going anywhere. It's going to be rebuild it from the ground up. Jalen Hurts is still going to be your quarterback. You might have a new coach. You might even get rid of some of your key players. I don't know what they would do, but they're not getting rid of him. They can't. They can't afford to.
Okay, one quick one also. Do you think that Howie's power, he may not get fired, but do you think the strength in the front office would be wavering with Lurie if you fire Sirianni and it's an implosion? You lose him. If you lose him, that's your control of the roster, because then you're going to bring somebody else in that's going to demand a little more of the roster and control of the roster. I mean, you're not going to hire another yes man.
Jeffrey Lurie hired the coach. Jeffrey Lurie hires every coach. It's one of the things he toots his horn at the most, because he's basically always picked a winning coach, right? He's been pretty good at picking coaches. I think he would go right back to the route he normally does. If he doesn't go Bill Belichick, he's going to find some guy that not a lot of people are talking about. Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni. Remember, before Doug Peterson was the head coach, nobody was talking about Doug Peterson being a head coach. Nick Sirianni was the 9th or 10th interview this year. So a guy like that, he's not going to be ready to take control. He's not going to want control. And they're going to regroup that way. But Howie's not. Nothing's happening to Howie. By the way, I can't blame him for that. Look, Howie can't play the games. Howie can't coach the team. Howie got you a pretty stacked roster, bro.
Well, then why'd you interfere during the season when you were 10-2?
Why'd who
my
interfered?
problem?
Who interfered?
That's my problem. Why'd you interfere? Why'd you panic?
Who interfered?
The front office did.
I don't think it was Howie. It might
Somebody
have been
told him to fire him. That wasn't a decision. On Monday, Siri Liar told us he had every coach in the building that he loved. By Friday, he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could argue about that. I think Sirianni probably let Sean Desai go because he thought he was almost a move to save face type of move. But I don't know. I don't have any backing to that. I don't know. You think Howie Roseman called him and told him to fire him?
I do not think that guy makes any personnel decisions in coaching staff, because that's the same thing that you just got to telling me of what made Doug walk, was that he couldn't control the hirings of his assistants, but they were going to give Sirianni more latitude after the fact that
who fired Sean Desai, though?
I think that came from the owner.
The owner. Yeah. So
the owner came down.
The owner's not going to scapegoat himself, Dan.
What's that?
The owner's not going to scapegoat himself.
No. The owner's going to go like this. Tell my boy down there to fall on the sword for us.
Yeah. And he'll scapegoat Nick.
Hey, guess what?
Howie will stay put. I will say, though, that would definitely start to bring a little bit of, how many coaches is Howie going to have? Most GMs don't make it.
Hey, but wait a minute. Does it matter?
Does what matter?
Probably doesn't matter to those guys because they think it's them.
Yeah, but I'm not
it's such a bad optics, though. It's
terrible optics. But like I said, yo, Nick, I'm not going to blame Howie if this team fails. Howie did what he was supposed to do. He got us better players. There's some spots, we could be better, but look across the NFL, man. There's spots that every team can be better. You're not going to have a great star at every position. This is basically an all-star team on the offense. I mean, you got two guys that are at wide receiver, you got a tight end, you got a running back, you got the quarterback. Yo, Nick, if you fail, it's on you, bro. You're the scapegoat.
Remember what I told you, Junior? 2022 would be the best team Jalen Hurts ever played on. And that's going to hold true.
Well, you also told me once they paid Jalen Hurts, they wouldn't pay A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And you were wrong on that.
Hey, whoa. Well, wait a minute. He's making 6.4 this year, Devontae.
Now you're going to get into the contract.
He's making 12.
When they signed Jalen,
he's not making that money until 3 years. A.J. Owens, man, is not going to be on this team in 3 years.
No, you're wrong.
No way. You know where he's going to be? Hey, wait a minute. So wait a minute, Xander. All these big money guys are working on 2-3 teams, but not him, right? Oh, wait, he has been on 2 teams.
Yeah, but the Eagles showed they're going to pay him.
Tell me this. If these guys are so important to their teams, why have all of them dealt? Stephon Diggs is on 3 teams. Tyreek Hill's on 2 teams. You got AJ on 2 teams. Devontae Adams is on 2 teams. These guys are being dealt in their prime.
I wish I had my producer computer out right now and I could pull up the video of Big Sil. Once you pay Jalen Hurts, you will never have AJ Brown.
Hey, that's because
you'll never have him. Okay, here we are. They're both under contract through 2029.
That guy does a great job with the contracts, and I've got to tell you, no question. That's why I said that Howie does the best job when it comes to those contracts. But you keep floating that damn stat around. They got $30 million. Congratulations, you went cheap. Well, you didn't pay anybody on defense.
Oh, really? Does this look like a cheap roster to you, Dan?
Defensively, yes.
Defensively, yeah, it does. But it doesn't look like a cheap roster to me overall.
It's a top-heavy roster.
It's very top-heavy, but
it's only offensive guys.
Okay, what would you rather have? A bunch of mediocre players and have great depth, or have
mediocre players on defense? Oh, what? You know what? I'll take that back. I don't know the rookies yet. I got to see what they do.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do, but that's still being cheap if you're counting on rookies anyway. So to your point, you're correct.
AJ Owens, man.
Listen, if Quinyon Mitchell can play, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's got to stay healthy, but I like that addition. If Devin White, we talked about it a little earlier, if we can pull anything out of Devin White, that's gonna improve the linebacker room. And I will say I'm impressed by their talent with Jalen Carter on the front. I think he's gonna be just fine. I think that guy's gonna be a stud. But yeah, not a lot of depth. I mean, there's not a lot of depth. But
again, you're spending $35 million in 2 cornerbacks, like Yale said.
Yeah,
that are in their 30s.
Yeah, but Dan, I mean, you can't have it all. Like, if would you actually rather have a team of a bunch of mediocres and have great depth, or have great stars and don't have great depth?
Depth wins in the NFL. 22 depth won for you because you were the deepest team in the league. Okay? You have to have a dude, it's the war of attrition, not the war of stars.
You still need great players, Dan.
Dude, Kansas City has 2 great players.
They have Patrick Mahomes.
Great. And who else?
Patrick Mahomes is gonna go down in history as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch a football.
Who does Green Bay have?
I don't know. I haven't studied the roster like I studied.
They destroyed a team that annihilated you.
Who?
The Packers killed the Cowboys.
Yeah, we also beat the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, because Dak stepped out of bounds. That's why you beat them. And after that, in Arlington, they crushed you.
Okay, we split with the Cowboys. We split with them every year. Get used to it. We're probably going to split with them this year too. Don't care.
Man, wow.
That's not what makes my season. Maybe we need to start a national football show in Dallas, because Big Sills sounds like a Cowboy fan pulling out the excuses for them.
I'm never going to go with that. I can't.
Are you tooting your horn that they beat us in the regular season? I don't care, dude.
No. If I was going to toot my horn on something, I'd say Dak was 9-4 versus you. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, in the regular season. Dak doesn't have a playoff win versus us. Dak barely has a playoff win versus anybody. The guy's a one and done every year.
Your quarterback's 0-3 in the postseason on the road. You better host those games at the
My quarterback also went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, so did Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, but we're talking about Dak Prescott. He's done absolutely nothing in big games. And here you are hanging your hat that they whooped us in the regular season. I could care less.
Okay. So that Mahomes win didn't mean anything too then, right?
It didn't mean as much as the playoff loss to Baker Mayfield did.
All right.
That sent us home for the year.
Hang your hat on Hurts, my good friend. I love it.
I'm not saying I'm going to hang my hat on him. I'm just saying Dak Prescott hasn't done squat. Jalen Hurts has at least shown.
I'm not battling for that guy.
Yeah, I know, but bro, Dak Prescott's played 9 years in the NFL. He's had significantly less accomplishments than Jalen Hurts.
Okay, well then here, let me ask you something here, since you want to go down that route. We did this the other day with Jared Goff and with Jalen. Jared Goff has done 10 times more than what Hurts, even in his first 4 years in the league, than what Hurts has done. First 4 years, even 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, NFC Championship, lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl in his first 4 years, went 13-3 himself, and then he went on a binge where get this, in his first 6 years, 4 of those have been over 4,000 yards.
What's his playoff record? 5-4.
Okay, yours is 2-3.
Okay, that's my point. He hasn't done that much more than Hurts.
He's been to 3 NFC championship
Super Bowl.
Wait, he's been to 3 NFC championship games, 2 with 2 different teams, a Super Bowl. He's been a Pro Bowler himself 3 times, and he's also just got a contract for $53 million.
And he also was drafted in 2016, brother. I'll talk to you in 4 years. Jalen Hurts was drafted in 2020.
I said I took the first 4 years. He went to his first 4 years in the playoffs. He was 2-1 or 3-1.
He was 2-2 through 2019, and then he didn't go back till 2021, where he was 1-1. 2024, he was 2-1. He's talk to me in 3 years when Jalen Hurts has logged more years.
Look at the numbers. I mean, it's not close.
He was 2-2. Jalen is 2-3.
No. 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's a quarterback, bro. Oh
my God.
That's a guy who wins.
You're so wrapped up in the quarterback stats, dude.
That's how you get paid.
That's how Jalen got paid. Which doesn't matter to me. I don't care if he got paid. I just want him to be great. Okay, but he's done what? Why do we pay quarterbacks? Because we want to go to a Super Bowl. Jalen took us there. Like, you can't just take that from him. I don't care how many games ago it was. Aaron Rodgers, people still tell me about his Super Bowl. That was like before I was born. I could care less.
It's like 13 years ago or something. I that's a little too old too for me here.
Okay,
hold on.
You keep loving up on.
Hold on, let me clean these up here because I got to take my Eagle glasses off for a second here. And
no, I just want you to be fair. Jared Goff did not.
I'm not going to be fair.
Okay, fine. Then I'm going to battle you on it. I'm going to battle you on it then.
Okay, good. You hang your hat on Jalen Hurts. I'll hang my hat on a guy like Jared Goff. And get this, I don't really think he's an elite guy.
Okay, ready? Who goes further this year, Lions or Eagles?
Oh, Lions.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, they're better.
Where do they go? Where do they go? Are they
going
to
the NFC title game?
Okay, so they're going to play who? The Niners?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that bet right now that the Eagles go further than the Lions.
You're not better than that roster. Your defense is nowhere near the Eagles. They're nowhere near the Lions.
We might not be better than their
roster. And they got a better coordinator offensively.
I'm taking our offense all day on them.
Where was that offense last year? The only guy different is Barkley.
Oh, last year was last year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Your amnesia's kicking in now. You forgot about that.
No, I didn't forget about it.
Oh, no, you only gave him a pass.
Shrug off the past.
Oh,
I don't care, man. The team was also 10-1 last year, so you can throw that in the equation.
10-1. There it is.
If you want to talk about the past, like past. I agree. I'm not going to hang my hat on 10-1. But why are you hanging your hat on 1-7 then?
Because that's who you are.
We were awesome.
You're not 10-1. You were You were 11-6 in an ass beaten by the Bucks. Hey, Nick, you're done. Xander, great stuff.
Stills, I'm ready to keep busting you up, man.
Hey,
you get me fired up on this team.
Very good. Very, very good. Man, make sure you check out Birds 365. By the way, Xander, do me a favor. Where are we right now in the likes?
Let me pull it up. Appreciate everybody in the chat. We got the best viewers, Dan, on JAKIB.
I know we do.
I bounce around on Eagles YouTube, and I watch a bunch of other people. Our viewers, we have awesome viewers.
Hey,
they give such good content in the chat.
Knowledgeable, too.
Knowledgeable. They're loyal. 147.
Okay, guys, we are almost halfway through the program right now. We have to get it to 200. You guys did a great job yesterday. It was absolutely sensational. We thank you so much. By the way, Monday we're not going to have a show, obviously, because it's a 3-day weekend. But next
Memorial Day for our veterans, so we're going to take off on Memorial Day as to pay our respects to the people who make this country possible. We're sitting here talking about football, Dan. Can't do that in another country, so we're going to take that time off for our veterans.
That's the greatest team of all time.
Exactly, 100%, no question about that.
So this guy's actually done something that I didn't believe that was possible. See, I had to give him a little kind of like an OTA. And now that I found out, he's actually really good. So he's going to join us every day at 3:30. Yeah, I had to put you through some OTAs. And now that, I'm like,
OTAs, some practice reps, some helmets and shorts.
Yeah, helmet. Yeah, now you're ready to go full contact. Yeah, you went full contact today. So
I'm gonna check you, man. Because listen, and I'll say this because I know me and Sills debate when I'm on here. Sills is the greatest sports talker I've ever listened to in my life, and I want all of you in the chat to know that because I know you knock him, I know you criticize him, I know you hate that he's hard on our team. You will not find another person in the country who can entertain you, who can bring it to you every single day for 4 hours. That's why I love Big Sills. No matter how much I might disagree with him on something, I will always love his show, and he will always have a spot here in JAKIB Sports. You guys in the chat make it possible, but I do want you to know that whether you love or hate Dan, you listen to Dan because he's that good.
By the way, he's still going to go after me every day, so just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Xander, man, great stuff. And you know how much I love you, man, and your pops. And again, you know what I love about this company here? You know, the name of the company is named after all the kids in the family.
A lot of people don't know that, Dan, where JAKIB came from or why it's called that. Yeah.
It's named after all the kids. And hey, it's funny how people pick on us, and you go take a look at some of those other companies going through all their bullshit, and JAKIB's making the thing happen. And I'll tell you what, this is a precursor. This is the storm before the storm. So we look forward to everybody doing this each and every single day. We do love all you guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This show sucks, but I never miss one.
That's what I'm saying.
Joseph, that it should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the slogan of the Big Sil show right there.
Absolutely, Sileo, I hate you, man, but I'm here every day.
And that's what I want people to understand.
Great stuff. Make sure you catch him on Birds 365 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Also, too, don't forget Farzi, who was great yesterday. Also, he kicks off our broadcast each and every single day, and also, too, all of our great clips that we have. Xander does a lot, man. He's got a lot on his plate right now, and he makes it all happen. Brother, I love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday, and keep it here on the National Football Show.
See you, everybody.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sil's National Football Show. Appreciate everybody coming aboard. Thank you again. Xander's going to join us starting on Tuesday of next week. We're off Monday. And he's going to be with us 3:30 each and every single day. And a welcome addition. Look, he's right about one thing also. Helmets and shorts. Helmets and shorts. Bernard goes like this. Sills got cooked. Who'd you think we're going to bring on our program? People who are not going to fight back? Bernard, great. Congratulations to him. Awesome. About time somebody stood up for themselves. Yeah, punked. I know. I've been punked for 40 years. I know. Hey, one thing you guys did, you guys ran out Mark Cohn. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay? We'll see what happens with Mark. Maybe he joins us next week. Saw something here, and I was talking to my friend Bill Moss. It's about Carson Wentz. And Bill Moss, who's been on this program, works with the Kansas City Chiefs broadcast team, and he had a chance to talk with Carson Wentz. Okay? Sills, you can't say helmet and shorts doesn't matter. It's reps. Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. Especially for the young guys. Fair. I want to show you something that Carson Wentz told Bill Moss. We should get Bill on. He's been over at the OTAs with the Chiefs. He's been hanging around Carson Wentz. And he was asked the question, why the two stops where you are and where you were last year? You know what he said? Well, I wanted to be coached by Sean McVay. I wanted to be around Matthew Stafford. Then I wanted to be around Andy Reid. And then I wanted to be around Mahomes. So I can learn on what I'm doing wrong. That's insight. I saw a guy turn his career around, a couple guys. And if we've learned anything about the NFL, he's going to get an opportunity to start somewhere in the league again. He's not that old. I think he's as old as Jared Goff. So in the last 2 years, Wentz has gone McVay, Stafford, Reid. Now he's with Mahomes and Reid. Funny, look at Yo. Wentz is a failure as an NFL quarterback. Funny, he owns all your single season passing records in Philadelphia. He's an MVP in the league. How's he a failure? Yale thinks Wentz is a failure. He's an MVP. He's thrown for more passing yards and touchdowns than anybody in Philadelphia Eagle history. And with lesser talent. He's a failure? Maybe not what you thought he was going to be. No, he won the Burt Bell Award like Hurts did. That's an MVP award. Sorry, dude. No, Yale. We're not talking about injuries. We're talking about a career, and he owns a Super Bowl ring. And you don't have home field advantage if it's not for him. True or false? Was 11-2. Again, I'm not trying to revise history here. I'm talking about the present here and what he's doing. Well, if you're going to give that MVP award, the Burt Bell Award to Jalen Hurts, you got to give it to Carson Wentz. They both won the same award, and they both finished second in the voting. You can't give it to one and not the other. You can't. Why would you do that? Oh, because you like one guy better than the other? All right, that may be. It's preferential, sure, but it's not factual. It's not factual. I get he didn't win the postseason. Hey, and would they have won the Super Bowl if he was quarterback? Angelo says no. I'm gonna rely on that. Probably, I don't know. I probably not. Foles was insane. That's not my point here. My point is that he's trying to figure it out. And if I'm a football team that maybe needs a gap quarterback, he may be the guy that I want to look at next. Dude, look at all the shitty quarter. I mean, if Baker Mayfield is on 4 different, how many teams now has he been on? Let me think. The Browns, Carolina, the Rams, the Bucks. He's been on 4 teams in what? 3 years? 2 years? He's been on 4 teams. Ryan Tannehill went from the Dolphins to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, there's a spot for him somewhere. How old? Hey, Yale, how old is Carson Wentz? 29? You're 29 years old? Oh, hey, Yale, he's made a shit ton of money. He's made a shit ton of money, and he's not put up the numbers that Kirk Cousins has. Again, I'm trying to get to the point here. You know, every time you bring up the word Carson Wentz, it's like this guy's a colossal fuck up. It's not true. He's 31. Okay, he's 31. He's got about 4 more years, 5 more years in this league. This is the point, Prince. See what Prince just says? Stop hating. I'm not hating anybody. Wentz was good, but he got in his own way. You have to be coachable. Well, that's what his point is. That's the point he's making. That's self-reflection, dude. Can't you give him the benefit of it? He goes, I wanted to be coached by Sean McVay, be around Matthew Stafford, and the reason I went to Kansas City, I had other opportunities, is because I wanted to be around Andy Reid and the guy who's the best in the business. So he's taking this year here with Andy Reid and Mahomes as a year of opportunity and watching how you do it right. What am I not doing? What am I not applying? That year he had in Indianapolis was awesome. He had a great year in Indy. As a matter of fact, as a passer, he had a superior year in the year that Hurts was second in the MVP. Look at him up. Touchdowns more, passing yards more, completion percentage more, completions more. He had a really great passing year. Had 9 turnovers, 29 touchdowns or something like that, 26 touchdowns. He was really good. But there's an intangible. Shit, we're talking a little bit of that about Jalen Hurts being a better leader. I don't want to put words in Prince's mouth, but I think he's saying that it's too bad Wentz wasn't back then where he appears to be now. Slagger, sometimes, dude, it takes a little longer for people and for that to click in. Look at Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon didn't understand why he was a vagabond and why he went. How many teams did Rich Gannon go to before he won that MVP with the Raiders? 8? Think about Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon couldn't figure it out. Minnesota, all those teams that he was on. He just couldn't figure it out. He got with John Gruden. No, he got with John Gruden, then with Bill Callahan, and went to a Super Bowl. Went to the AFC Championship, won it, lost in the Super Bowl to the Bucks. I mean, so he's figuring it out at 31. Is it too late? It's never too late in that league. I don't think. I don't think it's too late. Angelo goes to Carson Wentz is not a winner. You know, if you listen to what we were talking about, winning in the postseason is not that easy. How many people are going to say this? So you're under the impression Jalen Hurts, by the time he retires, will have a 500 or more record in the postseason, right? Is that what you think? right? You think he'll have a post 500 win percentage? You think that's going to happen for him, right? List of quarterbacks, postseason records. Hey, Fred. Here you go right here. Now, look, I'm not even going to talk about Brady. Because Brady, again, that's nobody is going to put that kind of, nobody's going to put that kind of stuff up there. You're just not going to. Let's do Montana's unfair. Montana's 16-7. Mahomes is 15-3. Let's go down here to some of the greats. Aaron Rodgers is 11-10, Hall of Famer. Kurt Warner's 9-4. How about this one? Russell Wilson, 9-7. Donovan McNabb, 9-7. Jim Kelly, 9-8. Donovan McNabb has a better win percentage than Jim Kelly does in the postseason. It's crazy. Joe Burrow's 5-2. Josh Allen's 5-5 in the postseason. Garoppolo and Purdy are 4-2. Yeah, let's do the active guys, who the guys are in the league right now. I think that's fair. And I'm not going to do Mahomes. Rodgers is 11-10. Wilson's 9-7. Burrow's 5-2. Allen's 5-5. Purdy's 4-2. Could you see the Eagles bringing back either Foles or Wentz to help Jalen out on his pocket awareness? I'm not bringing Wentz back on pocket awareness. Foles, maybe. Thank you, Devontae. Devontae, thank you for the super chat. They want to distance themselves from Wentz, but Foles, I'd love to have Nick Foles. But you know what you would have? You'd have people, a portion of the fan base screaming for him to be put in as a starter if Jalen starts struggling. So they don't want any of that. And I don't blame them. There's no reason for that noise right now. I would like to have a veteran quarterback back there, but I don't want that kind of noise. Like, you know what? I made the point to you. I think they passed on Justin Fields because they didn't want the noise. Kenny Pickett was a safer way to go. I don't want that kind of shit because it creates more issues for the coach who's already a lame duck coach. Hey, I agree. Carson Wentz has no pocket presence right now. That's not anyone I want him learning anything from. That's why he's in Kansas City learning about pocket presence. Matthew Stafford's 4-4 in the postseason. Jared Goff's 4-4. Baker Mayfield's 2-2. Tannehill 2-3. Hurts 2-3. Lamar 2-4. Prescott 2-5. These are all active quarterbacks in the league. Trevor Lawrence 1-1. Stroud 1-1. Love 1-1. Deshaun Watson 1. Here's the point. Dude, winning in the postseason, for you guys to sit there and say that this guy's going to have, and I'm talking Jalen here, is going to have a winning record as a postseason quarterback, not very many do. Even winners of Super Bowls. Matthew Stafford's 500. That's a tough proposition to win in the postseason. You've got to have so much. Dude, you've got to have so many things right. You know what? We were debating a little bit, and Xander's right when he says, hey, Mahomes is a one-up. Well, you don't have to really spend a lot of money on your offense when all your money goes into your quarterback. You know what? Patrick Mahomes is underpaid. He's worth $700 million. Why? I don't have to pay a wideout. I barely have to pay any O lineman. I got the I get the tight end. It's maybe the third highest paid tight end. End of the day, I'm not paying anybody. Patrick Mahomes is underpaid. Almost every quarterback in the league is overpaid, except one guy. It's going to be interesting to see what Joe Burrow looks like without T. Higgins and whatever they do with Jamar Chase. We still haven't seen that dynamic, and he's the highest paid guy in the league right now. Okay, I mean, Sills doesn't get it. It's simply old philosophy. Run the ball and stop the run. Coach Madden preached it all the time. Dude, I've never not said it's not about those. It could be 1920 or 2024. Stopping the run and running the ball will always be essential in winning Super Bowls. It'll always be essential. Simple. Simple. Bengals got rid of Mixon too. And yeah, he's down. They just gave him a contract extension in Houston. I think that's a good move for Houston. Houston's going to be a frightening team. Higgins is still in camp. He hasn't signed his tenure yet. Hurts is going to make haters say he got lucky again. It's boring. Hurts is going to make haters say he got lucky again. No, you don't do that when a guy puts another great year up. Quarterbacking in the NFL is not about luck. 1 year is luck. When you're consistently putting up great numbers year in and year out, there's nothing lucky about that. That's talent, consistency, great play. When you got 3 different years, you're not consistent. When you've got 1 year and 3, that's great, and the rest of them are okay, that's not great. Again, it's really 1 year great and another year okay. The first year is first-year starters. Not everybody's going to look. I'll tell you this. What I saw with Jordan Love and what I saw with C.J. Stroud starting in their first year, especially Stroud, what's his name? Love had at least a chance to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a little bit. I mean, it's incredible. I couldn't have been more wrong about a quarterback, but I went with the history of the program. They don't produce good quarterbacks. Here's going to make hate. Look, Super Bowl winning teams can run the ball. Yes. Play action, short yardage. Right. Absolutely correct. Bad coaching with – I'm not going with that excuse any longer. Jordan sat for 3 years. Hey, senor, and he sat behind Rodgers. I remember something, too. Rodgers won an MVP award 3 years ago. Rodgers had won back-to-back most valuable players. And then that's why they gave him the $150 million extension. And he was 37 when he got that extension. They gave him a $150 million contract extension. And he had just won back-to-back MVPs at 37. What are you going to do? Send him away? Best thing happened to the Packers was that he had a down year. That's crazy about that down year. Take a look at Aaron Rodgers' down year. It'd be a career year to many people. That's a great point. Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay might be a career year to Hurts. Aaron Rodgers' stats. His last year in Green Bay. Here's his last year in Green Bay. 36.95, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 91 quarterback rating. That was the worst year that he's had in 13. Year before that, 37 touchdowns, 3 picks. Year before that, 49 touchdowns, 4 picks. How about that number? Think about this. Here's Rodgers in the last years he started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 75, 91, 107 touchdown passes in 5 years, and 15 interceptions. That's getting it done. And that's why that guy's a first ballot. Hurts started in a bad situation. Then what? Super Bowl last year was bad. Guess what's next? I don't know. Turnaround? Sure. What's wrong with being optimistic on May 23rd? Hurts still Pro Bowl on a down year last year. Gardner Minshew went to the Pro Bowl. I'd be careful with that one. Okay? I'd be careful. Gardner Minshew was. All right. Let's do this. Xander, where are we on the hit list here? Where are we on the likes? Guys, I appreciate you guys, man. We got another hour here to go here. And I'd love to get this thing up to 200. We're at 180. We're 20 away. Way ahead of the pace of yesterday. Thank you guys so much. We'll reset. I'll ask you that question, and we'll go over that topic that Angelo kind of brought up a couple of days ago when he was here on the program. Hit the like button. Power Hour coming up. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Is the best vacation one that you find, or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights, or reminds you to go with the flow? To get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm, or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Listen, if we even think you owe us money, you won't know what hit you. We'll put liens on everything you own. Raid your bank accounts, retirement fund, pension. You'll open up your paycheck and cry because we'll already have the money. We'll haul you into federal court and you might even go to jail. Hey, it's our job.
Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. Our experts will fight for you using IRS guidelines to stop any IRS actions like bank levies or wage garnishments. Plus, eliminate penalties and interest and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
I'd have my mom call the number on the screen. You come see me alone. We'll work it out.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I think there's a character problem with Justin Fields. I think there's a character problem with him. Big Sales National Football Show. We'll get back into resetting the topics here. So at the OTAs, he's making comments that, I'm so happy I'm in Pittsburgh. It was really glad this is a place that I always wanted to be. I'm so glad it's here. Told my agent I wanted to be here. Dude. What he's doing, subtly saying that Chicago was a shit show. Well, they drafted you to turn that around. They drafted you to turn that shit box around. You couldn't do it. And that's why they weren't going to pay you. They were not going to pick your option up because they didn't believe in you. And you're going to an organization that won't tolerate bullshit either. And by the way, you want to hear something crazy? The Pittsburgh Steelers are spending $5 million this year on Justin Fields and Russell Wilson combined. Senor goes, Bears were a shit show, bad coaching. Oh, so you're under the assumption that if Patrick Mahomes went there, he'd suck too, like Justin Fields? Dude, that's the price you pay when you go high in the draft. Well, let me do this. Help me out here. How many Super Bowls had the Kansas City Chiefs won prior to Mahomes getting there? What is it, Super Bowl 4? Beat the Vikings? Well, here, let's do one that's not hypothetical. How many Super Bowls did the Chiefs win prior to Mahomes getting there? I must have missed that. None. They had none. Right? 0. They won like one with Len Dawson back in 4. Like 55 years ago. Or 52 years ago or some shit. I mean, and he's barking about the shit box that's in Chicago. I'm not saying Chicago does it right when it comes to the quarterback decision, because they don't. But people are going to look at your character and how you handle yourself after the fact and when you're fired. And if you're still throwing sour grapes, this is a place I wanted to be. Why? You're a backup in Pittsburgh. This is where you want to be, a backup in Pittsburgh in your 4th year in the league? That's what you really covet, is to be a backup in the league. Dude, if I was a player that was drafted that high like he was, being a backup in Pittsburgh or Shittsville, Indiana, that's not a place that I covet, is being a backup in Pittsburgh for a guy who people think is washed already. Come on, dog. You're talking shit to Nick Foles, too, when he's up there. People are saying the guy was a train wreck in meetings. Look at all the comments that are coming out of Chicago now about the kid. He was a train wreck in meetings. Foles was trying to help him, and he didn't want anything to do with it. He would roll his eyes. Like, what do you know? Well, I won a Super Bowl MVP. What have you done? Looks like there's a character issue with this guy. Then you got a guy down in Carolina right now. What's the head coach's name? Canales? You know what he said about him? Wow. And I loved what he said, too. He prefaced it by saying, it's helmets and shorts. But, man, is Bryce Young good? Man, is Bryce Young good? And he's like, he's just been great. Knows what to do, where to throw the ball. He learned so much from last year's disaster. He just looks like a pro quarterback. How much of it is coaches talk? And how much of it is facts? Well, Canales' job relies on that guy being, because that's a David Tepper pick. Maybe they got And maybe he turns it around. Dude, I'm pulling for Bryce Young. Here's why. One of the coolest moments, I don't know, Xander, if you remember this. It was a Sugar Bowl, and it was Will Anderson, and it was Bryce. And they had won that. I think they won the Sugar Bowl. They may have lost it. Either that or they had lost the championship. I forget what it was. No, it was the Sugar Bowl that they played in, and they didn't have to play in it. And Saban stops them. I think Saban stayed on coaching because he wanted to coach those two dudes, and he wanted to go through one more season, but he didn't want to leave before those two dudes. He stopped them both right there at the Sugar Bowl. And you know what he said? He goes like this. I just want to say the character of these two guys. These guys didn't have to play in this game. These two guys have great character. Our program is symbolic of how they handled themselves, Will Anderson and Bryce Young. And I just can't speak enough about the character and how people, they started something and they wanted to finish it. I like that. I'm pulling for him. I don't know what he'll do. I don't know if he'll ever be good. But you know what I could say this about the guy? I'll be rooting for a kid who wants to be great. You know, I like Bryce Young. I hope to God Bryce Young comes through. I really like him. There you go, Adam. Brady said that. If Fields wants a long career, he needs to humble himself. If he doesn't, he will have a short career like Johnny Manziel. Hey, Adam, that's exactly what Brady said. Brady said on that podcast, I don't know if you heard it, Adam. He goes, you know why I played 20 years? I had to humble myself as much as possible all the time. I make all the money. I get all the praise. I've got to be the best teammate I possibly can be. Because if I'm not playing 20 years. You've got to be a great teammate. Sills, Stabler was the last successful Alabama quarterback. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see how many guys he's had drafted in the first round. Well, you're talking NFL. Richard Todd had some type of success. But, I mean, NFL-wise, because there were a lot of national championship quarterbacks at Alabama during Nick's time. And people forget that the Hall of Fame quarterbacks that are at Alabama are not Saban players. They're Bear Bryant players. Stabler and Namath were under Coach Bryant. And Richard Todd was also under Coach Bryant. So, I mean, Coach Bryant is the one that produced the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He didn't have a ton of them, but he had Hall of Fame ones. Hey, Fishing, that's great to know. 8 more. We're almost at 200. Way to go, man. This is what I can't stand still sometimes. He will say something matters and then turn around and say, you wouldn't depend on coaching. I'm not understanding what you're referencing. I have no idea. He will say coaching matters and then turn around and say, you shouldn't depend on coaching. Not if it's shitty coaching. This guy, look, you don't shit on successful coaching. You shit on shitty coaching. I don't get what you want. So if a coach is a good coach, no matter what it is, the players should listen. And if I've got Nick Saban and Nick Saban's got a 5-win season, I'm still going to trust Nick Saban. You know why? Because Nick Saban's got a long list of great success. Having a bad year here. But when you have 9 different fucking coordinators in 4 years, you're never going to get great coaching consistently in Philly. That's my point. You don't have great coaching in Philly. You never will. It'll be spotty. He'll never have the best coaches in the league, Jalen Hurts. Why can't you get that through your head? Look who you are. 4 years, 9 coordinators. 9. Where in the world are you going to get consistency? What are you talking about? How many people think Jalen Hurts in the next 5 years is going to get great coaching? I don't. I don't. He may get a year or two. So we're in agreement then? What? That Jalen will never have great coaching consistently? Yeah, okay. Organizationally, my problem with Hurts is the organization and the way they're coaching him. My comments about his ability and the way they coach him has not changed 1 second. Since 3 years, I've had this. Hey, next time, Zan, ask him if I've not had this same take the last 3 years. 2022 looked like they had turned the page and they were going to go in a great. Then 23, they changed it. He will never be coached well here in Philly. You will never coach a quarterback with consistency, with the model you have and the way you coach. Like asking Xander this question. So if Nick Sirianni has great success, they're not going to fire Nick, but they're going to let the best coordinator walk out the building like they did Steichen. You're back in the same boat, searching around potentially for Brian Johnson. And let's say this. Say Kellen shits the bed. Nick won't get fired for that either? So you're saying Nick can't get fired? Well, if the team goes bad. I thought that was Kellen Moore. Front office hired the guy. How's that my fault? It's almost like the front office is giving him cover. So Nick can't lose his job? So if Kellen does a great job, he's out. Get this. Kellen Moore is on a 1-year leash. He's either going to go get a head coaching job somewhere else or he's going to be fired. What do you think the odds of that are? One or the other. And Nick keeps his gig either way. Or would they clean house? Why would you clean house? It's a guy you guys wanted. Why should that be on me? That's what you're saying in Philly. Hey, this is the guy you guys picked. So, like, this guy can't lose his job. I don't like Kellen. I don't like anything tainted in Cowboy. That's a totally irrelevant conversation. Him being a Cowboy. I could give a shit. That's like saying you wouldn't want Emmitt Smith on your team because he was a Cowboy in his prime. It's dumb. Thank you, Fishing Maniac. Couple more away, guys, from 200. I mean, no matter what happens, according to some of you, Nick can't lose his gig. And hey, how about this? So what if Shane Steichen goes on this year and gets his team to the AFC Championship game? And Hurts has a down year again. And you let the coach walk out the building who was the real coach of the team. Just going to keep Nick? Or here, Kellen does exactly what Shane does. Goes to Buffalo. They win an AFC championship, and they play against Steichen in the AFC title game. Nick's still your coach? Because you got Hurts under contract until 29. Jesus, criminy. I'll tell you this, man. The contract that you signed with Jalen is a brilliant stroke of genius. But with the amount of years of dead cap money that is going to start accruing, you may be tied to that deal, and you may have to like it or not. That's why this 24 season is a lot on the line here. Because like what Xander said, you ain't getting out from under that. There's over $100 million of dead cap money. You're stuck with that guy. If that guy comes out to be average or even just a tick above average, or he has a decent season and still you get knocked out in the first round, you're tied to that contract for the next 4 years. You're not going anywhere. And you get a new coordinator next year. You're on the conveyor belt. This thing could get really ugly. See, almost the worst thing happened to Hurts. You know what that is? Early success. Because now there's a benchmark for him. And he's not been given the time. The contract was given to him early. He had early success. He'll always be gauged on that 22 season now because all of you, that's what you talk about. And some go, well, Sills, you bring up 23. Well, that's the latest season. And I know a lot of people like to have amnesia. I think you're only as good as the last game you played. Not what you did 21 games ago. I think they fire Nick no matter what. No, Xander, hey, if you're 14-3, dude, you think they're blowing out Nick Sirianni? That'd be a tough one. But if Kellen Moore, hey, if Xander, here, if Jalen Hurts has 4,400 passing yards and 38 touchdowns and 9 picks, and they get to a Super Bowl, you're going to let him walk? Xander and John McMullen say yes. Wow. So you're going to let Sean McVay walk out the building and keep Nick. That's scary in just the decision-making. You're not going to fight. Hey, and to their point, John and Xander's point, 2 Super Bowls inside of 4 years, 1 down season, and it was 11 wins. Every year we've been to the playoffs. We've been to 2 NFC title games. You ain't firing that guy. They got the perfect puppet. Sirianni is the perfect puppet for the Eagle organization. Shit, that guy could be the head coach for the next 20 years, maybe. Cal goes, Sills, what would it take to get Nick Sirianni fired? Dude, Sirianni will be the scapegoat for Hurts's failures if that thing goes south. So they'll fire him. If it's like what me and Angelo say. Angelo says 5. Look, between 7 and 9 wins. I'm in there. But if it's anything like those 2 predictions, he's gone. He's gone. So is the whole staff. Howie's not going anywhere. And I doubt they take any of their power away. If they want to win, he's got to go. Ben, they are winning. You know what's really cool? And you have to give this a lot of love. Hey, Senor, one thing I've got to give you guys credit for. Okay? You won 11 games. And y'all think it's a failure. That's cool. I have to give you credit for this. Think about what you guys are saying in Philly. How many teams in the league would just die for 11 wins? The Jets? When's the last time the Jets had 11 wins? Shit, I can't remember the last time the Jets were in the playoffs. How many teams would die? That's right. Senor's like this. Hey, Sills, our bottom is the 11 wins. That's freaking awesome. I mean, that's freaking awesome. What a great team to cover. when 11 wins blows. I mean that. I mean that. I mean, hey, I may sound like you guys won 5 games, but I'm talking, if you guys don't hear it, I'm talking like you. I think you're better than what you did last year, and you won 11 games. Right? Say whatever you want. Seals, blink twice if you're forced to say this. Wait a minute. Senor. Hey, senor. So wait, when I say something nice, you're not used to hearing that? Is that what this is? Wait a minute. Wait, my ears are bleeding. Sileo, did he just give us kudos? Dude, I am giving you kudos, and I don't do it enough probably, but it's true. You won 11 games, and I talk about your team like you won 5 games. Seals, what happens to the Eagles if they start 0-4? Holy shit. They start 0-4. Whew. It'd be one of the greatest sports talk years in the history of Philadelphia if you guys start 0-4. Big Seals working on Big Z is working on Big Seals. Get at. Now I'm out now. Forget it. Look at it. Xander's thinking that he softened me up here. Over 200 likes, my man. Thank you. NJ, we all here thank you so much. We do. We thank you so much. Eagle lover Dan Sills. Sills is going to come in singing Fly, Eagles Fly, the road to fire Nick. Hey, come up with a song to fire Nick. That'd be great. If we start 0-4. Thank you very much, Maniac. That's really awesome of you. Thank you, my brother. Sills, does the team have more drama than the 93 Oilers? No. Or how about Kyle? One of them Des Bryant Cowboy teams had a lot of drama on it. You know, one of those Des Bryant teams had a lot of drama on it. That Ravens team, how about this one? That Ravens team, the year that Ray Lewis was in shackles, do you think that had a lot of drama on it? Guy was in leg irons. A lot of coaches tend to mess up dual threat quarterbacks because they envision a drop back quarterback and an adjustment NFL is trying to make. That's right. That's why you have, Death Row, that's a great take, and it's a true take, and that's why you have younger coordinators. Jeff Fisher is a great example of that. Screwing up Vince Young. He's a great example of that. That's why you don't have the old coordinators any longer. You have guys that are like Shane Steichen that know how to coach that style. And by the way, Death Row, may I dare make this comment? That's why you're not going to have a lot more misses in college. And this is why you're going to have a lot more black quarterbacks make it in the NFL. Because back in the day, they were looking for white prototypical drop back quarterbacks. And most of the colleges ran dual threat, like Oklahoma, all those colleges back in the day. And that's why when Charlie Ward was never given an opportunity, really, to be a quarterback in the NFL. I love to have seen Charlie Ward. Get this, Charlie Ward had to pick his second best sport playing basketball versus the sport he won the Heisman Trophy in. I mean, right? I mean, that's why you didn't have a lot of black quarterbacks make it, like Tommy Frazier or some of them other guys, or at least get opportunities. Because white coordinators back then were looking for the drop back guy. They tried to plug him in. When those guys didn't work, because that's not their skill set, they cut them. Now you've got coaches that know how to coach these guys. You know, the greatest example of that is, can you imagine telling Lamar Jackson at an NFL combine, hey, you know what, dude? You might want to try wideout. You know, I don't know if you're really going to make it in the NFL as a quarterback. I mean, I didn't think he would make it because of throwing, but they're never going to make a racist comment like that and have him try out for another position. Guy won the Heisman Trophy at Louisville. I want to give him a shot at quarterbacking. Why didn't you ask Tebow to be a halfback when he came out? Now he's won 2 MVP awards before the age of 26. It's pretty insane. Pretty insane. Telling Cooper DeJean to try a slot or safety. Lennox, I want to get him because he's white. Hey, why don't you play? What do you think? He's Jason Sehorn? Is that what you're saying, Lennox? I'm trying to get him on the field. And if he could play both places, corner and slot, I want to get him on the field. I'll tell you this, Lennox, I think he's the better athlete between him and Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's the better athlete. What that kid scored, 28 points a game in high school in basketball, was like a sprint champion at Iowa. He's some sort of like Paul Bunyan type dude in his neck of the woods where he's from. And because he's white, he didn't go in the first round. That's to the Eagles' advantage. All good. The kid had a first grade grade on him. You know what I mean? Had a first round grade on him. Oh, for sure. I want him on the field. I try him at slot and Maddox at safety. You know what I would do with Maddox? And I was telling Xander this. Hey, man, the goal for the Eagles with Maddox, try to get as many reps as you can or many plays of the year you can out of him. You might not even want to start him because he's a good football player. Get this, Lennox. Maddox is not on that team at times, and they cut him wasn't because of ability. How sorry is that? And how do you feel for the kid? Dude, you're not an Eagle, or you're not being paid what you're worth, and you've been cut because you can't stay healthy. That has got to be the biggest mind you know what going. Usually when players get cut, they get cut because they suck. You know, very few people have a true excuse on what happened to them. His isn't. He's a good football player. He's a good football player. Now it's time to mend our hearts. Oh, you writing a soliloquy? Senor's sitting here while I'm going over all this. He's writing a soliloquy for the firing of Nick Sirianni. Holy shit, man. You Eagle fans have no heart. I love it, but holy cow. Doug Williams and Warren Moon blew the door hinges off the Rams' 1970s black quarterback James Harris set the table. Yeah, you know what they did to my friend Doug Williams? How about this one, Greasy? Doug Williams was on his way to breaking the all-time passing number for passing yards in college football, right? He was on his way. First 3 years, he needed just another solid year. You know what they did? They changed the designation of Grambling to a Division II. So his last year didn't count, so he couldn't break the record. True story. They classified it and put him down to Division II, or 1AA it was back then. Prince goes, stop it, Sills. Dude, I don't give a shit what a guy does in the weight room or what he does on a 40. Ask your guy Nolan Smith that. What's that have to do with anything? Dude, weight room guys and track guys, who gives a shit? Doug Williams played at Grambling. It's a college. So why not root for Hurts? He wants to win. Shaq, are you under the impression I'm not rooting for him? You keep missing it. He's not going to win because you're coaching him wrong. Or how about this? He's going to win, but he's not going to win enough. I'm with Emmanuel Acho. He's going to win, but he's not going to win the game. Grambling State HBCU, legendary, but they designated them late as Division I AA schools so that Doug couldn't break the all-time Division I passing record. I nicknamed Mitchell the route jumper. He gambles a lot. He's going to have the same problem Tavon Diggs had, route jumping. That's my problem with Tavon Diggs too, dude. I'm with you. I think Tavon Diggs, I think he jumps routes too much and he gets beat. That's the thing too with the kid, the other kid on the other side. I think he jumps routes and he gets beat. Right, he does. Seals, didn't Joe Gilliam start a few games for the Steelers? Kyle, here's that story. By the way, Chuck Noll loved him. Chuck Noll loved Joe Gilliam. Loved him. Probably was going to be the starter over Bradshaw. And they drafted Bradshaw number 1 out of Louisiana Tech. Joe had a heroin product. He had a heroin problem. And the Rooneys tried to do everything they could to help him, but he had a horrible heroin addiction problem. And Coach Noll couldn't count on him because it had a lot to do with drugs. But Joe Gilliam, in my opinion, was everything that Bradshaw was. And they loved him. The Rooneys loved him. Just they couldn't count on him because of drugs. It's just really a phenomenal. Hey, thank you so much, Maniac. How do you feel about the backup quarterback situation? Pickett, an upgrade for Mariota? Enough to win 2 But here's the one thing I say about Pickett. Does Pickett resemble Jalen's skill set? Not really. Not really. I don't think Pickett as a backup is awful. He's won some games. You know what I mean? He's won some ball games. It's not horrible. I think he's solid. Okay, he is. He's solid. I think it's an upgrade. Sills, I can't believe that Terry Bradshaw backed up Phil Robertson at Louisiana Tech. That's a really good pull, Kyle. I can't believe Terry Bradshaw didn't go to LSU. Now, that was during the time, I think, of Burt Jones. So maybe that's why he didn't go to LSU, is because Burt Jones was there at the time. And what people forget is, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, right? Burt Jones went to the Baltimore Colts. And I think Burt Jones won an MVP award in the league. And he was like one of your first dual threat guys. The first time I ever saw dual threat, I was a really young kid. And there was a dude that played for the Colts by the name of what I just said. And he was just great, Burt Jones. He was a great player and he got hurt early in his career. But he had won an MVP award. And that's why a lot of people didn't like the dual threat aspect of it. People often take what they hear on YouTube and believe it without questioning. The dude was ranked high on pass breakups. Great. In the MAC. Who gives a shit? Playing against nobodies. I'm not saying he's a nobody, but easy, Prince. Playing against Northern Illinois and Iowa University is a little different than playing against LSU and Alabama and Georgia every week. Jesus, criminy. Pass breakups versus Eastern Michigan or pass breakups versus Texas A&M? What are you, nuts? He's doing the same at OTAs in helmets and shorts. Congratulations to you. All right. Sills, you dumbass. Peterson didn't walk. He got shit canned. So you fired 2 Super Bowl winning coaches. Yeah. Who's the dumbass there? All right, guys. Xander, where are we in the likes, my friend? Where are we in the likes? Roger Carr, man, that's another great name. 206. Love to get to 220 by the top of the hour. Yes, Prince, I do suck at my job. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. What are we, 12 away from getting to 220? If the guy did that in college, the Senior Bowl, and then continued to do it in the offseason, he did not do it at the Senior Bowl. I thought he had a good Senior Bowl game, but during the week, scouts were saying he was common there. Bro, I'm not saying he's not a good player. I don't know that yet, and nor do you. I'm talking about where he played. I'm not even talking about his skill. You are. You're making it sound like he's a great player. You don't know that. I don't. I'm talking about where he performed against. He performed in the Mid-America Conference. It's the shittiest conference in the country. Alabama won. I know the story. I'm not saying he's not good. Here, this is who Quinyon Mitchell played against. You're the one making it up, saying that the guy played against, oh, well, he's a great player, one of the highest rated shutdown. And you're like, what? Because he played in college. I mean, here's Mid-America Conference football teams. Here's who the Mid-America is. And here's who he had his great careers against. Toledo, Akron, the Buffalo University, Miami University, Western Michigan, Ohio, Ball State, Northern Illinois, Central Michigan. That's a far cry from the Southeastern Conference. Are you crazy? You can't even compare. Ball State, Bowling Green, Central Michigan. Get this, of all the kids that were drafted, 32 of them in the first round, your boy's the only guy from a non-Power 5. As a matter of fact, Howie in the first 3 rounds drafted 2 dudes from non-Power 5 schools. A total gamble. A complete gamble. DeJean played at Iowa, at least in the Big Ten. I'm not even, and again, one more time, I'm not talking about how his skill or his athleticism. I'm really not. I mean, he had to have a high rating for a reason. I'm like, it was his combine. Maybe some of his game tape. By the way, Marvin Harrison and the Ohio State Buckeyes put 73 on him. How good did they do? I think he had a 75-yard touchdown catch in that game on him also. Prince, I saw the 75-yard touchdown catch that Marvin Harrison had on him. Did you? Sean goes, golf is a system guy. That's it. I guess it's 2 different systems. Yeah. 3 NFC championship games. Okay. So get this. Like Xander said, he's been in the league longer than Hurts. Well, of the 9 years him being in the league, I think is it 9? 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah. Well, we're going into his 9th year. But in 8 years of football, he's been to 3 conference title games. Is that bad? 2 different teams. Can you name me another quarterback in 8 years outside of Mahomes that's been to 3 conference championship games in 8 years? Not even Aaron Rodgers. Who else? That's playing right now. Who has been to more conference title games in the last 8 years? He's been to 3. Did golf's team win the Super Bowl? No. Neither did your guy. Jared Goff's got a conference title. You forget he went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. LA Rams did. I know this. Neither did you. and a weak NFC. Again, I don't really think Jared Goff, but when you look at it, he kind of shocks you. What did we say he was in the postseason? Xander, he's 4-4. It's a better record than Dak. Dak's going to make $60 million. It's a better record than Lamar. Think about that. You know what's crazy? Goff's 5-4 in the playoffs. So he's got a better record. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Lamar get drafted in 16 also? And he's 5-4 in the postseason. Dak is like 3-5. Who else? Well, Hurts is under 500, but he's not a first rounder. And again, that's not really a horrible thing where he's at right now. He's got a long career ahead of him. Dak's 2-5. But Goff's 5-4. Now I would never look at Goff and go, he's better. He's got to have a better record than Kirk Cousins too, right? Right? Garoppolo's 5-2. It's crazy. If you haven't hit, thank you very much, Maniac. Dude, that's really great of you today. I really appreciate it. Okay, if Sills takes reply on facts, facts? What facts? Jared Goff has had a really good career. That's facts. Here. Let me double check something here. Sean McVay coaching record. Sean McVay. I want to see what he's done here because I want to go down here. Coaching career. Coaching record. Here we go. Okay. They were 2-1 in 2018 in the postseason. Lost to New England in the Super Bowl. Here you go. He's been to 3. They lost to the Green Bay Packers in the NFC title game in 2020. And they went to the NFC Championship game and won it in 2018. And he just went to a NFC Championship game with the Lions. So 3. All good. Guys, I appreciate it. Tell me, Xander, what did we end up with? What did we end up with in likes? Really awesome. Now, Xander was great today. 211. Fantastic stuff, guys. Football Friday, man. It'll be the last show until next Tuesday because of the holiday on Monday. I can't thank you guys enough. Xander, Big Joe, thank you guys. We will see you tomorrow, 2 to 6, and we will see you on the flip side.